Cheers, queers! What's on the big agenda today, Theora?
Today we are continuing our epic coverage of Flank the Series, Season 2, Episode 5. It's a journey.
It is a huge journey.
It might be the journey. We'll find out. So,
will this one be longer or shorter than the next episode?
Leave it in the comments now. We're just going to get into this because become a Patreon member, see our other episodes for the spiel. We're going to get into this right now. So, here we go. We're starting with part 3 of the actual episode, which coincides with our part 3 coverage. So, let's get into this. So, we're at the end. The horrible family dinner with the cursed couch, that all or not dinner. The family conversation with Little Nueng and Big Nueng all happened. Now, Pingfa and Big Nueng are having a sidebar outside. And Pingfa thanks Big Nueng for agreeing to the family's terms and doing their dirty work. And she really seems sincere, because, you know, we've said this a million times about Pingfa. Like, she seemed most conflicted about the whole thing, and so she does seem genuinely empathetic towards Big Nueng, at least.
But Big Nueng says that her reason was understandable, and yes, it was. But Big Nueng does not actually look at Pingfa when she says this, so it's not that convincing that she actually thinks.
That's because she just got her heart broken, and she had to break her girlfriend's heart. Like, yeah, she's not doing too hot at this moment. And to be fair, Pingfa also breaks eye contact with they do make eye contact. Pingfa also, like, looks away and looks guilty because she's not done asking favors of Big Nueng. She's like her daughter. She's like, thanks for the cookie. I need another cookie from you. Only these are cookies that are stale and gross and we don't want to eat them, but here we are. So Pingfa asks if Big Nueng, if she would refrain from contacting Little Nueng until she safely gets to America. And Pingfa, there is no safely coming to America anymore. It is not a safe space. You guys should stay in Thailand. Just saying.
Yes, no, it might actually be a better life in Thailand. Not saying that it wasn't before, but like, don't come to America.
Don't come here. Do not come here.
Don't come here.
Don't come here. It's not a safe space.
We'll let you know when it's safe. It might not be.
It might not be. Don't come here.
Yeah.
It's gonna get worse. Don't come here. Okay, so, but we can't shout this as Pingfa because this was already filmed. But anyway, so that's what she asks Big Nueng.
Yeah, and it sucks. But at the very least, she's not saying never contact her again.
Correct.
So
she's not. That's what I'm saying. The deal was not yeah, let's get into this. So if you notice Big Nueng's body language, immediately, like, she's already closed off at the beginning of the conversation. Like, she has her arm crossed, like, because her heart's bleeding right now. She's not feeling okay. She's building up walls to keep herself together. But after Pingfa tells her this, she's like, hey, this is the other cookie I need from you. Big Nueng uncrosses her arms and goes from this defensive stance to an more offensive body language, indicating that, like, she was totally cool with the OG deal, okay, which involved physically separating the two of them. She understood the rationale, okay, and was confident that she and Little Nueng had a really good shot at gaining this acceptance thing, because she knows her feelings are never going to change, and Little Nueng has demonstrated a million times in a million different ways her feelings are never going to change. So she's like, it's going to be fine. It's just temporary. It's going to be fine. But to go no contact at all for 2 weeks, she did not agree to this. That was not part of the deal. And Pingfa, to her credit, acknowledges this. She's like, I know, this is a lot to ask. But this is Pingfa, like, the way I kind of read it at first was like, this is Pingfa, like, almost just being like, I have a personal favor to ask you, Big Nueng. That's what this is. Like, the family and Chet came up with the OG deal, but, like, this is a personal favor I'm asking based on our relationship. Because Pingfa knows exactly how this is all going to go down, because this is literally the Pingfa scenario now being everything that happened to Pingfa, all of it got placed on Little Nueng against her will, including the exiling. So Pingfa explains, she's like, listen, I know how this is going to go down. My daughter obviously loves you because look at you. And she's going to run away and refuse to leave Thailand. And if my mother knows that you guys are talking, she's going to confiscate Little Nueng's phone, which as a young woman with friends is going to be devastating. And now here's the deal. Like, if Big Nueng knew how to use the internet, and you could use computers to talk to each other, this wouldn't be a problem because she needs a computer for school. So, like, she could use computers at school, like Big Nueng. If you were more technologically advanced, you guys would have been fine. You'd have been like, sure, I won't talk to her. I will message her on social media or send her gifts or like whatever. Like, there's ways around this if she knew a technology, but here we are. It's fine. It's fine. It's who she is, and we love her for that. Okay. Little Nueng's point of view aside, like, Pinkfa also, like, just really wants to bond with her daughter. Like, that's definitely a big motivator for her. And she knows that if her daughter's in a really bad place about all this Big Nueng stuff and feels infantilized by the grandmother, who then confiscates her phone and puts, locks the key, puts the princess in the tower kind of thing, it's going to be a lot harder for, like, Pinkfa to bond with her daughter, okay? Because Little Nueng's going to shut down and be like, I resent you for this. And this by no means is a perfect plan. Pinkfa coming and asking this, not perfect, but like it's all she has to go on because like she's outnumbered as always and can't stop this train that's now going,
Unfortunately.
And once Pinkfa protests this for being extreme, like I can't talk to her, that's crazy, Pinkfa admits, okay, listen, this is all my mother's doing, because she basically says like, I'll talk to my mom again. We'll get to that in a second. But, like, I assume that her mother did this shit to Pinkfa when she was a child / a teenager. I'm assuming this is coming from a place of experience and trauma.
It has to be. She has to be like, I've seen this film before. But when Big Nueng says it's extreme, I feel like Pinkfa has to be thinking, that woman is extreme. Like, she kind of looks tired of her mother here. Like, her face is just like, I really don't want to talk to her, but, like, I'll try. Like, it doesn't work. But she has been dealing with her mother and her actions for so long that I think part of her wanting Little Nueng to live with her is so she won't have to deal with her mom, because now she's not the middleman here. She has direct access to her daughter. I mean, yes, phones exist and stuff, but still the grandmother is in control when she's with her.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Like, and acknowledging Pinkfa, like Nueng and her grandmother, they have a complicated relationship also. There's love there, but there's trauma, and it's all there. But every time Pinkfa is with her mother treats her like a child, even though she's 30-something years old. And that's exhausting. And, like, to get away from that and then come back to it, you've seen Little Nueng do it. It doesn't go well. But Pinkfa is a lot more, like, she was traumatized a lot younger, and, like, that's her, and she's just, yeah, she cowers when it comes to these things most of the time. All right, so then, yeah, let's go back to the line where Pinkfa says she's going to try to reason with her mother again, indicating she's already tried speaking on Little Nueng's behalf behind the closed doors. I'm sure the no contact thing was a Chet and grandmother thing. They saw that go down poorly, how fierce Little Nueng was, and they're like, well, they can't talk because she'll never agree with this. And so they're probably like, Pinkfa, because these bitches never do their own dirty work. They're always like, Pinkfa, you go out there and tell her this. And I'm sure Pinkfa tried to be like, isn't that extreme? Like, I don't know. Like, that's not the deal. And they're like, no, the deal just changed. And Big Nueng's out of the room. So, anyway. So, like, this is extreme. And, like, the only voice in the room speaking on Little Nueng's, like, behalf was probably Pinkfa. And, like, what's sad is that normally, when shit's going down with Little Nueng, and Little Nueng needs an advocate to talk to the, quote, adults, it was usually Big Nueng. And in this moment, I think the consequences of losing the trust of the family and why Big Nueng was afraid of it is like right here. Like, she can't go advocate for Little Nueng anymore. She lost all trust. She is an outsider now. There is no listening to her anymore. Like, it's all gone. Like, she can't speak on Little Nueng's behalf. Like, the tyranny is going to happen and there's nothing she could do, basically. So everything has changed. And Big Nueng crosses her arms and sighs because it's not what she agreed to when she decided to go all in on this gambit, and when she decided to let Little Nueng go. And now she has no power to get them to, like, see her like an adult or treat her better. So while this sad reality is, like, hitting Big Nueng and she's, like, really getting beat down yet again, Little Nueng comes out of her room on the second floor and comes out onto the balcony and sees Big Nueng. And then they stare for, like, a second, and then Little Nueng walks away without uttering a goddamn word.
Because when she's walking out there and she sees the person who's supposed to love her and is basically siding with her family, and then her mom, who every time she comes back, it's never good news for her. They're talking, so it's just bringing her back to everyone else making decisions for her. Because everyone else keeps talking and discussing her life, but no one, again, is asking Little Nueng. Big Nueng has cared about Little Nueng's thoughts and feelings and what she wants in life. But because Big Nueng just backpedaled in the last scene, it feels like just another person doing it all over. And now she has no one.
Yeah. And I'm sure she was, like, in her room. It was like, ooh, the wall's coming in. Like, because it's like she's being oppressed. And so she went out to get some air and, like, oppressors. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm not safe. She has no safe spaces. They're all gone. Everything's gone. She can't even go outside on the balcony where nobody should be. And, yeah. Yep. That is how she's feeling. All right. So that happens, and Big Nueng is just more heartbroken. Because, like, I think she was, like, holding on to the hope that, like, if she's physically gone and we can still talk, it'll be fine. It's kind of like the thing where she's, like, remember in, like, her birthday, Little Nueng's birthday, where she's like, here's Folk. So you can try out what a relationship with somebody your age is like. But I know you don't like him, and it's never going to work. But here's the option. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. She's like, yep, you can go away, but I'm going to call you every day and text you and do all these things. So we're always talking. And that was just ripped away from her. She's like, wow, like, this is, like, I feel like I'm losing her for real. And now here comes Little Nueng, and she's like, I don't want to talk to you. So that hope of, like, we'll talk and it'll be fine in the end kind of thing, gone. So Big Nueng very dejectedly tells Pinkfo, like, well, you can forget about fighting over the phones with your mother because it seems like she doesn't want to talk to me anyway, so it's a moot point. Like, whatever. I give up. This is an I give up moment for Big Nueng. And Big Nueng walks away, but before she walks away, can we appreciate how gay her outfit is? Because,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we didn't hydrate for 5. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, hydrate for 5. Hydrate for this outfit, because, wow. Them shoes, the cursed shirt, it works.
The cursed shirt.
All right. And then, interestingly, after Big Nueng leaves, the camera lingers on Pinkfa for a little bit, and she looks guilty. Like, she's super conflicted by this entire ordeal. All right, so after that shit show, we then get a montage of Big Nueng and Little Nueng trying to go on with their lives without each other.
AKA a montage of sadness.
Yes, a montage of sadness. And we get the OG theme song playing in the background. And I think it's the version sung by the CEO of 9star. Because I didn't know
that there was a version of that.
There's, like, I've never heard it, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but, like, there's, like, clips that go around the internet of, like, I think Juan is her name, singing this song.
Oh, okay.
So, we start with Little Nueng walking the halls of school, all sad and alone. Like, there's no Yui, there's no Folk, because that's how she feels. Like, you just pointed out in the last scene, Kaitlynn, like, she is alone. There's no safe spaces. She's just a zombie walking through the motions because, like, what's the point, right? Of note, though, I will say this. And we get the shot of Little Nueng in her sadness montage. She still has her bracelet on that Big Nueng gave her, and she still has the phone keychain with the big N that Nueng gave her. Because her feelings never change. So there you go, visually. She has not moved on from Big Nueng despite the bullshit. Okay. Then we get Big Nueng. Big Nueng is, once again, in her art studio trying to do art. But it's even harder now because she's just spontaneously bursting into tears while she's, like, sitting in front of a blank canvas. And truly, this is such a relatable thing when you're going through heartbreak. Because remember, this is her first relationship. This is her first love, too. And it's devastating when it ends like this. So, like, oh my, like, this is so real. Like, just spontaneously crying. Like, because it's just too much. And, like, Big Nueng's at the point where she can't just, like, conceal, don't feel those feelings anymore. She feels it now. And, like, it's uncontrollable. It's so big and uncontrollable. Like, she's just utterly devastated.
Little Nueng's also the one who helped her feel those emotions and not hide them.
And understand them.
Yeah, and she doesn't have her to be able to help her through it now. So now she's alone. This is like the first time she's alone trying to handle her emotions. And I just want to say that these tears look so real. And she looks so distraught that I hope Fi is okay. She's a great actress. But I just, like, sometimes you put yourself in a really bad place in order to be able to film scenes like this. So I just hope she's okay.
Yeah, I know she's been through some stuff from what my understanding of her, and I imagine this was a dark place she was in when she was doing this. And, like, we're sorry. Thank you for being that dedicated to your craft, because, yeah, she deserves an award for her acting. Like, truly, she's a marvelous actor.
Yes. Every single award possible.
She earned it. Okay. So speaking of being alone, okay, so she doesn't stay alone with those feelings for too long. She's so depressed that she seeks out her emotional support lesbians. Which, in theory, is a good idea. Because, as you stated, she's alone with these feelings and kind of can't handle it. Because it's a lot. But it was a mistake because of who her emotional support lesbians are. Okay, so then poor Big Nueng goes and has dinner with Sam and Mon. And devastated, heartbroken Big Nueng has to watch Mon and Sam be the perfect, happy couple right in front of her salad. And it's too much. It's too much.
I mean, I agree. But this is the first thing she probably could have done at this moment currently. Because usually Sam and Mon are able to help her talk through all of this and decide what to do next. But there's not really options to decide on right now. Also, Sam and Mon have overcome their struggles, their age gap, and status doesn't matter anymore. So they're not in this mind frame of, like, what happened. And everything is more extreme for Big Nueng. And I don't think they can fully grasp what is going on because they didn't have to deal with people saying one of them is too young to make their own decisions. Like, Mon's family was like a saint.
Right. No, Mon's family was incredibly supportive. And then the grandmam's dead. So you would think they'd be over, but it's not.
Like, they really don't know what to say to her because they have not experienced, like, this specific type of thing.
Right.
Whereas everything else, they've gone through similar issues. Also, look at what they're doing.
Right, I mean, they're being cute and in front of her salad. And she's like, God damn it, you two.
Can you stop being lesbians for 5 seconds?
Okay, and here's the deal. Big Nueng, I feel like this makes her even sadder, to be honest with you, because she's so sad. She's not eating. If you look, her plate's empty. Meanwhile, Mon and Sam are, like, in the middle of dinner. Big Nueng hasn't touched her food, and she's just Big Nueng, the most food-motivated character in this series, is not eating. That's how not okay she is. And Sam notices this. And to your point, Kaitlynn, there is literally nothing Sam can say. In fact, when you're this heartbroken, there's literally nothing anybody can say to you. You just have to go through it. Speaking from experience, you just go through it. And it takes the time it takes for you to heal and move on or whatever. There's nothing anybody can say to you. And so what Sam does after she notices how devastated her sister is she just holds her hand. And if you think about that, it's a sweet gesture coming from Sam because Sam has expressed her frustration to Mon before at feeling helpless at trying to help Big Nueng with the Little Nueng relationship. When, like, she's like, I don't know how to help my sister. I can tell she's not okay. I don't know what to do. And, you know, because Sam is the people pleaser. She's the fixer. She's she's that person in the family dynamic. And there's nothing she can do. All she can do is be there, be present for Nueng while she's processing this and grieving, basically. And so I love that she's doing that. Like, Sam somehow matured more on this show than she did in Gap, which is insane because she's, like, barely in it. And so, am I wrong?
No, I was gonna say you're not wrong.
So
she's like a lot better with emotions and feelings.
And she grows even in the show, and she's barely in it. So, yeah, it's great. And I love that, like, after a second, Nueng registers this and does hold Sam's hand back as a way of, like, saying thank you and like thanks for like being present with Sam like while she like feels this, which is very sweet. And I love this is in here because I love the sister stuff and very mature coming from Sam.
I know Sam can't do much, like we just said it, but this is kind of like a bittersweet gesture because it's nice to know that her sister's there for her. But this is what Little Nung does to ground her. And now it's Sam having to do it instead of Little Nung. And it's just a reminder that Little Nung's not there once again.
And she can't talk to her is I think the worst part.
Like, because they're usually able to talk through things and
right. Especially like emotional stuff. Like Big Nueng needs to talk to her more than anything. And so to have that ripped away from her when she wasn't mentally prepared for that is a lot. Like
they didn't even get an opportunity after that whole conversation because it was immediately, please don't contact her.
And Little Nung being like turning away, which is like Big Nueng's like she doesn't want to talk to me. So that was it. Yeah. So she's in a dark place. All right, so to continue the sadness montage, let's go back to Little Nung. So Little Nung is having dinner alone with Pink Pho, which is interesting. It's interesting that the grandmother's not here to co-opt this. Chet is not here to insert himself. It's just Pink Pho and Little Nung. And I wonder if Pink Pho negotiated this because she read the room and she's like, she almost attacked Chet. Fair. And then she was devastated at my mother. So, like, how about we let her cool off, like, it just me and her? Because she's going to have to just live with me for a while. Like, let's get her used to that. Which this was probably the best move for Little Nung, honestly. Like, versus, like, Chet running his mouth and, like, making it work. You know what I mean? Anyway. This is, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the grandmother probably would have, like, made it worse, too. Without meaning to.
No, they both would have regressed in the scene.
All right, so in the scene, Little Nung is pulling a Charlie Spring, and she's playing with the food on her plate without eating it, is what I mean by that. And while Little Nung feels alone and super isolated, because she is, what she does have is Pink Pho, who's closely watching her, and she can tell that her daughter's not okay. And we've mentioned a million times, this is somebody who does have experience with heartbreak, and I think empathizes the most with how Little Nung feels because Chet doesn't know what that is and who knows what the grandmother's life was about. We have speculations. We have speculated in an episode you'll see later. But anyway, she understands that this hurts. And I think she's also sad because I think she understands, like, she came to the realization that, like, Nung actually has real feelings and is probably also, and that's why I think she's being real nice to Nung afterwards, being like, look, I'm not trying to attack you, I promise. I know you're probably devastated. Anyway, all right, back to the dinner. So Pink Pho, recognizing that Little Nung's not okay, takes food from her own dish and gives it to Little Nung, kind of like a peace offering to be like, I care about you, which she does. We've established that. And she's trying to encourage her to eat. But Little Nung looks so dazed and she feels alone and betrayed and like all these horrible things. And she just looks like she's not present in this moment. And like I've mentioned a million times, the most heartbreaking part about Little Nung is that she doesn't have a Sam. She doesn't have anybody who 100% supports her unconditionally. Not even Pink Pho gives her 100% unconditional support when she needs it. She's giving her what she can, but Pink Pho has her own motivations, her own trauma, all the kind of stuff we've been through. So she doesn't have a Sam. And if you think about Pink Pho, like, she's still complacent in what is happening right now to Little Nung. Same with Big Nueng in a way. Big Nueng's also an active participant in what's happening right now. And so her love for her daughter and like her complacency in this thing that's happening both can be true at the exact same time.
I also just don't think she knows how to fully support her because being removed, she didn't have the opportunity to learn Little Nung fully and know how to support her in the way that she needs right now. So she's trying to figure it out, and she's got to figure it out soon because she's going to be the sole caregiver soon. That she needs a caregiver.
And like, remember, like the way she bonded with Little Nung back in season 1 was like when she was getting the Lasix, and then she was like, Mom, help me keep this a secret from Big Nueng. That was Little Nueng telling her what she wanted, and Pink was like, yes, I will do that for you. I will support you in this. That's her way. Like, she's like, when Little Nueng asks her things, she did like go like, okay, yes, I'll do that for you. Like, let's do it. And like, but here's Little Nueng completely devastated, not communicating at all. So like, yeah, Pinkfa is in the dark of like, I really don't know my daughter. I want to, but like, she's not talking to me, and I don't know what to do. Anyway. All right, so then let's go back to Little Nueng. So, like, I think that Little Nueng at this dinner table is just concentrating on keeping herself as put together as humanly possible so she can get through the dinner and then break down in her room when she's by herself. Because the girl feels like she has nothing right now.
That's so valid.
Yeah, which is, her feelings are absolutely valid. Okay, so after the sadness montage of them getting through the day, we then go to nighttime. So the Nuengs try to go to sleep, and they prove to us that they both share a brain cell still, despite all the bullshit. So it starts with Big Nueng, who's crying her eyes out in bed, holding on to her stuffed animal. And it's the childhood one, the little, like, bunny-looking thing. And then we get a nice transition that Kaitlynn's going to go into explicit detail about, where we get a wide shot of her in the bed. She's in the center holding the plushie, and then it crossfades into Little Nueng in her bed clutching onto the little Big Nueng plushie, the cat, also crying her eyes out because they share a brain cell.
They do. All right, are we all ready for the Couch of Doom part of this episode? Okay, so in Little Nueng's shot of this comparison, to me, she looks even more lonely than Big Nueng with the way she is positioned in it. So, Little Nueng is further down the bed, creating a gap between the bed and the wall, whereas, like, Big Nueng's pillows are closer to it, so she's taking up more of the bed. And the way she is positioned on the pillows make it look like it's just one long one. So, and if you're thinking like it's one pillow, then she looks even smaller because your brain wants to concept like a normal sized pillow.
Also, Big Nueng's done this before, and I don't know why she does this, but I don't know why she sleeps with her head at the edges of both pillows where they meet instead of like picking a pillow. She's done this before, and I don't know why she sleeps like this. I'm just pointing
Little
that
Nueng?
out. No, Big Nueng. Look at how like Big Nueng is like.
Yeah, Big Nueng does it too, but you can see that there's two separate pillows.
No, I know, but like
Little Nueng's doing it too, and it's very interesting.
I don't know why is that comfortable like to sleep like Big Nueng's done.
My dog thinks it's comfortable. She likes lying in between. She was the most comfortable thing ever.
Dogs like being in the crevice, but like Big Nueng. I don't know. Are you okay, Big Nueng? I've seen her sleep like this before. It's just like
because like doesn't your head just like fall
through? How is that comfortable is my question. If you sleep like that, let us know. I don't know. I'm not trying to like shame anybody. I don't understand it. I can't sleep like that. But anyway, Big Nueng does do that.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
It is interesting.
Anyway. So overall, these things make Little Nueng look even smaller in this big bed, where Big Nueng looks like she is taking up more room. And because like if you look at the shots side by side, the far out one, the wide shots, there looks like there's not that much room for a second person in Big Nueng's bed, where you could probably fit two people in Little Nueng's bed.
Yeah, she's tiny.
So, yeah, to me, this could represent that Little Nueng feels even more alone than Big Nueng, because we have seen that she has even less support than Big Nueng.
Yes.
So she's even sadder. Okay, so let's talk about the shots and the crossfade. So they definitely spent a lot of time making sure that these shots would line up nicely. And I have to tell you, if you've been listening to this podcast, you know, especially during Gap, I would rant about these freaking crossfades every 5 seconds. And I tried to dial it back. I don't want to keep saying it. This one was very, very beautiful.
So good.
I loved it. As I was watching it, I was like, oh, that was really good. And then the next thing happened.
And then the next scene. The next edit.
And this is why we have this huge rant here. Okay? Because I don't know why this beautiful use of a crossfade was followed up by a split screen comparison of the two, just at a different angle. Like, yes, we saw that they were holding the stuffed animals together. Okay? But in between the crossfade and the split screen, we get a random shot of Little Nueng holding the stuffed animal just by herself. And then that goes away. We get Big Nueng on the left. And then the same exact thing that we just watched. Like, not even different part of the scene. No, it's the same exact thing on the right of the screen. Okay. So, first of all, no, okay, hold on. Let me go to my notes because there's so much I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about first. Okay, so the one of the main issues, there's many issues. So one issue is that it's following a very gradual crossfade. It's not even quick. So you have a lot of time to process this crossfade. And the crossfade works, like I said. But they're not trusting their audience to put it together themselves that it's happening at the same time, they're feeling the same thing, and they're acting the same way. I don't know about you, but it was pretty obvious that that's what it meant.
Yes, that's what I mean. It was a crossfade that was used purposefully to demonstrate that, and that's what made it good.
And very carefully.
Yes, it was carefully done. And it was like a great directing, great editing. And then I don't understand the follow-up choices are emphasizing what we just established.
And then, okay, so then, not only do we during a split screen, it doesn't fill the screen. So now we have really big black... It's not even pretending to be cinematic like Gap did.
Oh my god.
Okay? They just did scale to frame in Premiere, and then this looks like they're multicam editing right now. Like split screen view.
Sorry,
like the scores and then the preview. Yeah. Like, it makes no sense. And granted, if you were to make it the full screen, I don't think they shot it wide enough.
That's probably the issue, yeah.
But again, why is this here in the first place? Because this is used to compare things. Or, like, even in When Harry Meets Sally, I think. I actually researched this today.
Oh my god.
That's how much I wanted to make sure I had accurate info to rant about. So when Harry Met Sally, they used this to create more intimacy when they were both in separate beds to show them, and they were on the phone. Okay, this does nothing than reiterate the crossfade that was beautifully done. It makes no sense. We are not stupid. Okay, but even if we were, it's weird. I'm sorry, it's weird. That's the bottom line. That's it. I'm not breathing, so I have to go take breathe.
We're mostly confused because, like, we've said a million times, like, this show is very carefully crafted, and like the directing is very purposeful, the use of lighting, the editing, like, it's very good. This was just it seemed very out of nowhere, and maybe because the characters are very out of sorts and this feels weird, but like, I don't understand the choice of this, to be honest. It gave me Gap flashbacks. I was like, why?
Yeah, okay, so I was about to say, I don't want anyone to take offense to this.
No.
Okay? Do not read into this, but this is something I would expect from Gap.
Yeah, I would absolutely expect this from Gap. Yeah, not playing. That's why I'm very confused.
If there was a choice here, I would love to know it. Because, like, definitely, tell me I'm wrong. I'm totally fine with that. I just would love to know more. Because I tried to understand. I really did. I wanted to reason it out so I could... Because Theora and I did talk about this already. So I wanted to come back and be like, oh, this is why they did it. I still can't figure it out. So...
Yeah, I can't figure out. It's like truly cool because it's redundant, like you're saying, because you could either have like the crossfade transition that we did to kind of show they're in the same place, or you could have just had this. I don't know why we have both.
Because they're both technically crossfades. Like one crossfades from black into it,
and they're both demonstrating the same thing, which is what they're both feeling sad and having trouble sleeping and clutching their emotional support plushies. Like they both editing choices give us the same thing. Like the crossfade is a little bit more artistic because it like fades and like I don't know.
I stared at the images, Theora. I tried so hard. I was like, any differences whatsoever. Like even
this felt like
shot I got more out of.
It felt like
because
Gap.
you can't. There's nothing different. I mean, maybe
No.
that there's nothing different, but I feel like the wide shot gave us more.
I agree. I prefer I prefer the crossfade transition. I thought that was so clever and beautiful, and that's a proper use of one of those.
Did you ever think I would be here saying, do the crossfade, not this?
No. Well, yeah, okay. So for all those who are like, oh my god, do you guys hate Gap? We don't hate Gap. For the millionth time, we don't hate Gap.
No.
If you haven't watched our Gap coverage, if you have, you understand. If you haven't, basically, in that show, they did a lot of editing for, like, the vibe versus, like, what the editing means. They made choices in Gap. Just choices because of the vibe, we assume.
Okay.
Sometimes it worked.
Well, we have to keep doing disclaimers because people have come after us for our thoughts.
These are our opinions.
There was times in Gap where it felt like whoever was in charge of the framing and doing shots was just trying to do as much stuff as they learned in like film school or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
all these like different types of shots.
The Dutch angles or the Dutch tilts,
yes,
they're everywhere.
I don't remember where that was.
So
wasn't it like in Sam's bedroom? And like the only time it made sense was when Sam was afraid of the ghosts.
Yeah, like it's supposed to demonstrate when the character's off kilter, hence the off kilter angle. But
Affair did it great.
Yeah, Affair did a good job with that, but like in Gap, it was just like it was overused and like to the point where it like the camera work or whatever they were doing lost the meaning of like what that technique is for, and that was our issue. Okay, so like that's why like I was very surprised to see this in Blank because I was like, you guys are so on point with like all the artistic stuff that's been going on in creating this, and I was just like, this was weird, and I don't know why it's here, but here we are.
But
yeah, I felt like Gap.
But overall, it's great.
It's a great show.
Again,
like
all media has their own decisions. We don't know them because we don't know them. Set. We would love to come to set if any Thai studios want to invite us. We'd come in a heartbeat because we're not gonna be able to do it over here soon. So please,
please. Yeah. Anyway, but like we're mostly just confused, is all.
Yeah. So let's get unconfused. And how about we give some Patreon supporters shout-outs?
Woo! Let's do it. We love all of you. You're our lovely friends, and we love you.
Yeah, so our Patreon members, if you don't know, are called the Chaos Crew. I don't even think our Patreon members know that they're called the Chaos Crew. We should tell them that. We want to make sure you all know that I was about to say that we support you. We do support you.
We support you.
But we appreciate you and your support for us. We hope it's a symbiotic relationship here. I didn't learn the word today, but I used the word today. Can you tell?
You've used it quite a bit.
Yeah. I looked it up to make sure I knew the word, and now it's just stuck. Anyway, so shout out, starting with Chaos Crew members on the Big Gay Dedicated Supporter tier and above are Jay, Dana, Natalia, Miranda, Regina, and Monet. Thank you so much for following our craziness. I mean, all of you do, because it's a wild time over there. And for our select Big Gay supporter members of this episode, we have LJ, Moonin, and Teslim.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Thank you guys. We appreciate all your engagement and everything. You guys make it fun to put out content, so thank you. We appreciate all of you. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, it's $5 a month for like the Big Gay supporters. You get access to these episodes early. There's no ads. You get a bunch of reaction videos that we just don't have time to edit to put on YouTube. If you're in the higher tiers, you get bonus content of us filming stuff and etc. Just go on Patreon. Our links are in the bio. You can check it out.
Also,
become a free member and follow us.
That too. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the calendar when this is going out, but I'm sure that it's around the time that a promotion for Patreon should be coming out for like an annual membership, and you can get some extra goodies if you sign up. And so check it out. You don't have to. This is totally voluntary. You can also join our Discord if you just want to come talk to us. Because we're not gatekeeping stuff. We want to make sure that queer media is celebrated and talked about. That's why we're here.
Yeah, you can make other friends with other people who are into all the same things you're into, and there's a beautiful little community thriving over there, so have fun. Be merry and gay. That's all we're saying.
We have a shirt like that, too. I gotta
do.
put it up.
Okay. Back to the episode. So Little Nueng's final day in Thailand has finally arrived. It's been 2 weeks. It is up. She's alone in her room bawling her eyes out and texting Big Nueng an ominous message, which is, I'm leaving tomorrow. I probably will never see you again. Goodbye.
Okay, first reaction. So dramatic.
So dramatic.
It's so dramatic. But, like, I do get it, because Big Nueng has hurt her once again. And I am assuming when you are in a relationship and something like this happens, like, I don't know how many people have, like, this exact experience, but you aren't really thinking about what you're saying or doing. Like, basically, she's just reacting and trying to hurt Big Nueng because now she has once again hurt her. And, like, even if it's just, like, a fraction of it. But the way this sounds, it's making her sound like a dramatic teenager.
It does.
Which is a big deal considering this age gap is one of the biggest issues in their relationship. And it's also showing, again, how Little Nueng doesn't really think about things and just immediately reacts, where Big Nueng is overthinking everything and is very cautious about what she says and does.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with their fight and flight response.
I was just thinking that. It does. It definitely does. That's how they're like opposites on their own. And on their own, they get more extreme in their behaviors. But when they're together, they find balance. So yeah, Little Nueng remember, they've been isolated for 2 weeks from each other. So like they're at their most unbalanced right now. Mm-hmm. And here it is. And you're right. If you're just getting this text message, it does my read too initially would be like, wow, she's being hyperbolic, like, this is dramatic, blah, blah, blah. And then when Big Nueng actually talks to her, it's like, oh, wait. it takes a turn. But, like, at the surface level, you're like, ugh, angsty teen. You know what I mean? I know that's not what's happening, but, like, with you.
Yeah, if you read into this more, it makes so much sense why she
wrote
this exact wording.
Phrasing. Yeah, exactly. But I'm with you. So I assume Big Nueng has been glued to her phone this whole time on the off chance that Little Nueng was going to contact her.
She has never looked at her phone more in her entire life than these past 2 weeks.
I agree. I think, I think that's what's been happening. Because she's just like, I can't contact her, but maybe she'll contact me. Yeah, that's been Big Nueng. Because Big Nueng's all about semantics, always. That's why she lies by omission. She's a semantics person. She's like, I can't contact her, but if she contacts me, that's not the deal. So Little Nueng contacts her, and like, this is her first message, and like, wow, what an ominous message to get. So she panics immediately and calls Little Nueng.
I love that she immediately calls her instead of trying to have this conversation over text. Because first of all, we don't know how good of a texter Big Nueng is. We don't really see text messages, but I don't even know.
Her text messages? No,
I'm not saying.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm not saying that she can't use technology, even though it's been proven that she could. Okay? Want a sword. I am not saying that.
We're not disgracing your character. We're not.
We just don't see it enough. And I just feel like she would be texting and she would say something that is like slang for something totally different. But like this way, because she's calling her, nothing can be misunderstood.
Right.
And they can actually talk through it. They'll understand the tone. Because it's very easy to think someone's mad at you, doesn't like you, overthink everything, which Big Nueng does, over text message. Maybe that's why she doesn't like text messages, too. Yeah. Only with the people close to her. Who cares?
Okay, I will say, we've seen her text Juan Viva. And like,
oh yes,
Big Nueng is the texter who, in the middle of the night, will think of you out of the blue and be like, do you want to come over tomorrow? Like, that's her as a texter. It's like, it's straight to the point. It's not beating around the bush. It's out of nowhere. And like, that's who she is.
You will not get a response unless she needs to respond.
Correct. Exactly. She's the one that goes days without responding.
199 text messages unread.
Unread. She leaves you unread for days. That's Big Nueng, 100%. But I think part of the reason why she calls, I think there's a couple of reasons why she calls Little Nueng. Your point is the most valid one. But I think there's also, she's impatient and doesn't want to wait to type something out. So she calls her because it's faster. And like, she's been deprived of her Little Nueng fixes and her cookies for 2 weeks. So she's an emotionally thirsty bitch right now. Okay. And then to go with that, I mean that lovingly. And then to go with that, she hasn't heard Little Nueng's voice. She wants to hear her voice. So I think it's impatience, and she wants to hear Little Nueng's voice.
This cookie metaphor is getting progressively more like a euphemism.
It is. Always was. Always was.
This also shows that Big Nueng will defy expectations of like her not calling Little Nueng in order to protect Little Nueng. Because obviously this girl ain't okay. She's saying, I'll never see you again. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think Big Nueng had a thought. She was just like, oh my god, call. Like, reflex. It was a reflex. Because, like, also, like, she's not allowed to contact, but she's, also you could rationalize it and be like, she contacted me, which she tries to do later. She's like, she called me first. But yeah, she's just like, panic, call. Like, there was no thought. There was no thinking. All right. And the part that makes my heart hurt every single time I watch this is because, again, Big Nueng immediately reads, calls. Little Nueng receives the call. And when she's already bawling her eyes out, and she's holding her thumb above, like, the accept button on the phone. And if you watch her, she hesitates for, like, a full second, and her thumb is shaking. Because she's, I think, scared to talk to Big Nueng in a way. Like, I think she's traumatized and, like, scared, which is so
Who knows
sad.
what's about to come out of her mouth?
Like, you never know. You never, but, like, also, like, Big Nueng is what? She just broke her heart to the point where, like, Little Nueng is in this really dark place, and she's scared. Like, she's so alone and scared, and it's just, it breaks my heart that this lovely human being is even in this position. All right. So then the phone call goes through. She accepts it. Little Nueng doesn't say anything. And Big Nueng, panicked Big Nueng, immediately. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Tell me more. Like, immediately is like, what? Tell me more. So Little Nueng responds by speaking her truth. She's like, listen, no, but not that anybody has asked, but I don't want to go to America. Not that anyone asked. I don't want to go. And more importantly than just being the smartest person here, don't come to America. But beyond that, she's like, Little Nueng can't conceptualize a life without the option of seeing Big Nueng. Because that's being taken away from her. There's no choice. There is no, there's just, it's being decided for her, like you said. And as we've established many, many, many times, Little Nueng's life completely changed once she met Big Nueng. Her world, her isolated life, where she's not allowed to have friends. She's not allowed to form human connections that the grandmother doesn't approve of. And even when she's like, okay, have the friends, she still comes in and terrorizes the friends. Like, her life was so small for so long. And then she met Big Nueng, and her world became bigger and brighter. And now she's being shoved back into that lonely, dull existence by her family that claims to love her. And also Big Nueng, who played a part in this, right? And Little Nueng is at the point where she just can't handle that anymore. Her life finally had meaning, and now it has no meaning anymore. And she's like, what is the point of all of this? My life is not my own. I am not allowed to be... All the happiness is gone from her life. She's just this emotionless zombie walking around. She's bawling her eyes out. What kind of life is that? So then Little Nueng clarifies what she meant by that text message was she doesn't want to live anymore. Because, like, she never really lived... Like, there's a difference between, like, going through life and living your life. And she was going through life and struggling. That's why she was struggling in school. She's, like, was just trying to find some peace and figure out who she was. And she was trapped in that house, and then she met Big Nueng and understood what it was to live her own life. And now that's all being taken away from her. And she's like, what is the point? I don't want to do this anymore. And this confession triggers Big Nueng on so many levels. I'm sure when she read that first text message, she was offended because she's like, what do you mean you want to see me anymore? And then, because I was so sure that you're gonna, at first she was ready to go on this rant to be like, you said you love me forever and would never change. I'm sure she's all ready for that. And then Lil Nueng says this, and Big Nueng's like, oh, I'm getting song flashbacks. Oh, I'm getting song flashbacks. Because this triggers her on so many levels. Like, the song thing. But also, this would be losing Lil Nueng permanently. And her happiness is gone forever. And that's something Big Nueng can't handle. Whatsoever. And I'm so thankful to Big Nueng in this scene, who doesn't just dismiss Lil Nueng's suicide ideation. Looking at you, Secret of Us. And Big Nueng looks genuinely worried hearing this confession. Because like you said, you could think, oh, she's just a dramatic teenager. But like, Big Nueng lost a sister to suicide. That's not a joke. And it's not a joke for Lil Nueng to disappear forever. That's not a joke. Never. And so because of that, she really feels the danger zone that we're in right now.
Yeah. And okay, so this, I did not read into the wording until we just talked about it. And I was like, well, shit, that made so much sense.
Yeah.
Like it's literally right there.
It's right there.
And if you don't know her, I should have known her. Can't believe myself. Come on, Kaitlynn. If you know her, you would be able to see it right away. And so, like, Big Nueng, again, my first read of this was Big Nueng saying, are you joking? Like, thinking that she was actually joking. And I was like, in my experience, someone isn't joking if they're saying this. Like, it's not, people do think, like, they're just using an excuse. No, someone says this, this is in their head. So don't mess around with it. But anyway, Big Nueng's here is probably just hoping that it's a joke. Because she doesn't, like, she can't even get to Lil Nueng to help her through this. So she's like, crazy. Like, this isn't good to joke about, but I hope she's joking. Yeah. So it's a bad situation right now. But Lil Nueng needs her.
Yes. Lil Nueng needs her. Big Nueng needs her. That's what's happening, and they're being divided. And all Lil Nueng can say in response is that she's completely broken. That's how she's gotten to the suicide ideation part, which is exactly what happened to Song. At the hands of the Grandmam and Nueng to some degree. Like, this is Song. Remember, and we've mentioned this before, I think you brought it up, and a couple listeners have brought it up, that, like, Big Nueng sees Song in Lil Nueng. So imagine how much this is triggering her. But this is a Song she can save versus she couldn't save her sister, right? Until it was too, and she'll live with that regret forever, you know? So this is a Song she can save. Okay. But the part of it that's really shitty, just like the Song thing, in Big Nueng's brain, she caused this in her brain, right? She was complicit in this whole, the gambit to get her away for 2 to 3 years to see if the love is enduring and all that stuff. And Lil Nueng is broken because Big Nueng helped facilitate this. You know, kind of like the Song thing. She helped facilitate the downfall of Song by abdicating her royal responsibilities, etc., and leaving it to Song, who she knew could not handle that. So it's history repeating itself. That's a lot of this. Like, Lil Nueng getting exiled for a scandal. That's what happened to her mother. And then the broken thing to the point of suicide ideation is what happened to Big Nueng's sister. So history's kind of repeating itself here. But Big Nueng's like, okay, well, I can't go see her, so let me do what I can. So she tries to, again, like, rationalize with Lil Nueng, who's not in a place to hear rationalization. And she basically tells her, like, tries to encourage her. She's like, look, go to America, like, because, you know, if this master plan goes well, we're going to gain our acceptance with your family, and then, like, then we can be together. Like, we will be together again. This isn't this isn't permanent. Like, it's temporary, like I've been saying. It's temporary. Like, we'll be together again. But for Little Nueng, this was never really about family acceptance. It was only about, like, yeah, she did want that, but the bigger thing for her was about Big Nueng loving her enough to fight for their relationship, theirs, the thing that's just between the two of them. And then in this moment, they go back to their circular argument that they've been trapped in since the beginning of the show, where on the surface, what it's like is Big Nueng is not fighting alongside Little Nueng, and Little Nueng feels like she's the one who's fighting all by herself, and she's at her breaking point. She doesn't have any more fight left in her. She's broken. And so she asks Big Nueng, like, how, after all this, can I believe you? Like, how do I believe in you? Like, you're telling me, like, it's going to be fine after the 2-3 years, we'll be together again. But you've shown me that you keep oscillating back and forth between loving me and then not loving me, seemingly, and, like, letting me go and, like, pushing me away. And, like, how do I believe that you're going to still feel this at the end of the 2 years? Because, like, Little Nueng, of all the things, understands how she feels. But, like, it is difficult, if you're not Big Nueng, and even if you're Big Nueng, to know what Big Nueng feels, because she's a messy 30-year-old who's trying to figure out how she feels all the time. So, like, this is a very valid insecurity that Little Nueng is having. So for Little Nueng, this proposal feels like she's losing Big Nueng forever, because she's like, I don't know that I can believe Big Nueng to, like, still want me at the end of these 2. She might pull some other shit, like, or have a new excuse, like, you know. I don't blame her for feeling that or asking this question.
Everyone's so focused on Little Nueng's feelings changing, but Little Nueng's the only one who sees that Big Nueng is also able to not have feelings for her again.
Yeah.
Not again, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's very valid that Little Nueng is worried about this, because she's seen it and she's heard of Big Nueng's past as well. And that's the big thing, is, like, that they've been sharing everything with each other.
Yeah. But I'll go back to, the feeling thing. Little Nueng is the true believer in the scenario. She's 100% unwavering the way she feels for Big Nueng, and she knows that despite the fact that nobody else believes her. But we've also seen that as the audience. Big Nueng puts her through hell, and she's still here with the feelings, right?
And we've also seen that Big Nueng has changed drastically throughout the course of her life and the show. And, like, we did say that earlier. And Big Nueng has been open with Little Nueng about her past. So Little Nueng does know. She also knows what losing and leaving someone does to her. Whether it's Big Nueng's choice or not. It always affects her, because it's going to affect anybody. So just going through a couple people who've left her life, I'm assuming after Pinkfa left, that is when Big Nueng became more selfish with her wants and ambition to, like, become an artist, and it was a catalyst for her hating the role she was playing and, like, expected to do. And I mean, I don't know if there was a little bit of internalized homophobia maybe at play because of Pinkfa's confession of love to her.
Could be.
Or even seeing that Pinkfa was throwing her life away, as, like, Big Nueng was worried about because she got pregnant. Or it's because, like, she knew that the grandmother sent Pinkfa away. Okay, so or, like, the grandmother sending Pinkfa away knowing that it wasn't her choice. So she's like, I don't want to be stuck like this. Like, that could have had an effect on her too.
Yeah.
Whatever it was losing her best friend that did something to her mindset, because that was the one person probably that she could talk to. Like, she knew her. But she saw, like, what this controlling, expecting to play a role did to Pinkfa. So she's like, I don't want my life thrown away like that. Okay, now with Chet.
Oh, God.
Leaving him completely changed her life. Now, with him, it didn't, not just dealing with him, she was removed from her family and fully going after what she wanted. She became even more guarded and stubborn. And then with the grandmother's death, Big Nueng regressed big time. And we saw this play out. And in the process, made her hurt Little Nueng, which made Little Nueng have even more trauma.
Yes.
So basically, there's a lot of shit going on, especially when people leave her.
Yeah.
So, like, there's always something. Like, you can never predict how Big Nueng is going to react because of this flight response, especially.
Yeah, I don't even think she knows, and that's part of the problem. And also, it's being exacerbated now with Little Nueng because she has major feelings that she hasn't had before, and it's like making her more unpredictable to herself, and like is upping the anxiety of these flight responses probably that she's having. Yeah. So in summary, it's 100% valid that Little Nueng is super insecure about losing Big Nueng if she's no longer physically with her every single day. Because remember, part of Little Nueng's insecurity is, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. If I tell you enough, you'll believe me. And then I think also part of it is, if you see me enough, you'll want me. So I wonder if that's part of it, where she's like, if I disappear and you don't see me, you're going to forget me. And then like...
But also, we keep bringing up, Little Nueng is the one who physically grounds her.
Yeah, exactly.
So without her there bringing her back down, like, she can use her words all she wants, but physically she has to bring her down sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So without that, she will spiral. And again, there is also the time change. So if she's spiraling and can't even communicate with Little Nueng, then she could go to a dark place and then isolate herself from her even more.
And that can go both ways.
Yeah, that too. Because especially right now, Little Nueng's mental health's not okay. Everybody needs a therapist.
Yeah. Where's their therapists? And yeah, to top off the insecurity, like, there is evidence, like we've seen on screen, that Big Nueng can change her feelings on a dime, or she'll run away, or she'll get swept up in some new suitor. Like, Little Nueng has been insecure about this the whole time, and like, she's afraid, and she's like, there's nothing, and she's powerless to stop any of this because she's being forced into it. So like, hence the brokenness. And while Little Nueng is bawling her eyes out, Big Nueng is sitting on the phone just in silence. Okay, so after getting asked the question, basically, why should I believe you? Or like, will you? What did she ask her? It's been, oh my god, the rant was so long. How can I believe in you? Okay. It was a good rant. Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I just forgot the question. Okay. Big Nueng knows the answer to this question. Okay, she definitely knows. Because that's what she's basing the gambit on. Like, she's a whole ass lie. She understands her feelings for what they are. And like, that's what she's basing the 2-year gambit on. Where she's like, well, I'm not going to change my feelings. And she's proven she won't. So we'll be fine. But she doesn't answer the question, and the reason she doesn't is because she knows if she tells Little Nueng, the answer is yes, this will influence Little Nueng's behavior when she goes abroad. And then Big Nueng will indirectly rob Little Nueng of all these experiences she wants her to have in order to come into adulthood and figure out who the hell she is. And then choose her on her own. Okay, she doesn't, again, because she's afraid of the regret. If I influence you and you choose me and it turns out poorly, you'll hate me forever. Or like, I'll never see you again. You'll disappear or whatever. So she's like, I can't influence you. You have to make the choice after we go through all of this, basically. Okay. So while all this is happening, Little Nueng's grandmother comes out of literally nowhere and confiscates Little Nueng's phone.
Okay. All right. So yeah, she literally comes out of nowhere.
Literally.
But by the point, like, and obviously, by the point she takes the phone, she is standing right next to Little Nueng. So the question is, why didn't Little Nueng notice she was there earlier?
That's a good, she's bawling her eyes out.
Surely she had to have heard or seen something coming. And I know she's crying. But with her childhood trauma, she is going to be in tune to the fact that her grandmother could walk in. Because I'm sure that grandmother did not tolerate crying.
Oh, no.
So crying out loud would be a risk for her.
Yeah.
Like, this is a trauma that sticks with you. And, like, you're painfully aware, like, of any noise. You're like, you hear something, you immediately stop and, like, freeze. I mean, she is a fight response, not a freeze response. So, I mean, it affects everybody different. I'm surprised she didn't, like, go, she tried to attack her, would you know? She wouldn't do that.
She would never do that. That's disrespectful.
This is regression. She's being treated like a child, getting her phone taken away. And this is the grandmother trying to reinstate her control over little Nueng. She doesn't have much opportunity left, so this is all she can do. This is all she knows how to do.
Yeah. I can only explain it that, like, little Nueng's given up. She's just given up on life, and therefore, like, fuck it. Like, what's the point? So, like, even if she did hear the grandmother, what's the point? But she does seem genuinely shocked when the grandmother takes the phone. So, I don't know.
No, like how silent is... Okay, no, this is what I wanted to bring up, all right? Is this the grandmother? And if you don't know, this is reverse for you.
Reverse for you, murder for.
Yes, and I'm sorry if you haven't seen Reverse for You.
You should.
I guess I shouldn't have brought this out yet. I should cover everything up. I don't know if you can cut all of that out. There's lesbian ghosts though, so if you want to figure out what that is,
it's a good
that's Reverse for You episode 6 reaction video.
Yeah, the 6 reaction. It's on YouTube.
No, that's good. It is going to be on YouTube.
It's going to be. It will be on YouTube by the time
it will be on YouTube. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Go watch Reverse for You.
So
just quick plug.
Is the grandmother a robbing ninja grandmother?
I think she just proved it.
How does that connect to Reverse for You? Watch the reaction video.
It's the beginning. Anyway, you don't actually have to watch Reverse for You to, like, watch this ridiculousness that happened. Anyway. But also go watch Reverse for You. It's a great show. In an even better novel. Okay. So grandmother ninjas the phone. That's where we're at. And this bitch has the audacity, because audacity is genetic in this family, to get on the phone and then talk down to Big Nueng. Here's my rant. Here's a summary of how this goes down. Hey, Big Nueng. I thought you understood the deal that we made, but I guess you don't because your parents died. And therefore, you're raised without manners. The grandmam spirit must be hexing your ass left and right. Leave my granddaughter alone. That's the conversation.
That's a grandmother alone. Continue.
First of all, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you all the way to hell. This was fucked up. Second of all, Big Nueng, who is not starring in The Secret of Us, tries to explain that she's worried about little Nueng's safety, given the suicide ideation that's currently happening actively in the scene. But this bitch just dismisses her concern. Ma'am, go join The Secret of Us, please. Go join. You get on swimmingly with those characters. Have fun.
She would.
She would. She'd fit right in. Perfect. Also, you can't claim to love your granddaughter when you do shit like this. Like, you just can't. After this bitch then ends the phone call, after degrading Big Nueng, she walks out of the room like it was a victory, while her granddaughter is violently sobbing on the bed. What is wrong with this family?
I mean, we keep trying to explain it.
It's like the equivalent of Chet looking at the photo of his daughter, happier than he's ever actually seen her in real life, and being like, wow, Big Nueng's a deviant, I must go attack her. And then this bitch comes in. Her granddaughter's clearly not okay. And then the girlfriend, who's gone through hell in a handbag to, like, profess her love for her and be like, I'll wait for her for 3 years, whatever, it'll be fine, then tells you, I'm worried about her right now. Look at her. And then the grandmother's like, fuck you. Fuck you, orphan. How is that an insult?
This was such a personal attack. It's ridiculous.
No,
I feel like
it was terrible.
It's every single thing the grandmother ever probably thought since meeting Big Nueng.
Coming out. It's it's like when you're in America right now and a certain horrible human being gets elected as president and all the deplorables come out of the woodwork and start saying horrible things to people because they feel emboldened. That's what this woman reminds me of. She's like, I have no respect for you, Nueng. Let me show you how I've thought of you this whole time. That's that monologue for me, where it's just like,
I see your true colors shining through.
Literally. Oh my god. I hate this grandmother sometimes. I hate where she treats Nueng. I understand, whatever, but I hate her for this scene. And just like, again, you can't see this, like, your granddaughter's not okay, and then you just leave the room like, yay, I won. And like, does not console little Nueng. Nothing. Just leaves. Just leaves.
I feel like this was really random. This was pretty random. For her to just, like, go off like this.
I think you're right. I think this is her just being like, I'm gonna say everything I ever wanted to say to you. Leave my granddaughter alone. You deplorable big, you gender deviant, to quote, because her and Chet are on the same wavelength, so this is like, it has the same energy. I really hate her and him. Okay, meanwhile, Big Nueng just gets cut off, right? And she's so distraught by, again, this is left unresolved. Your girlfriend just told you I'm suicidal, and then, like, the grandmother comes in and tells you to fuck off, and nothing gets resolved, and then you're like, what a horrible position to be in as Big Nueng, who's had a sister that she lost to suicide. And, like, she takes a seat, and I really, really hope that Big Nueng called Pingfa, because that was not against the rules, to be like, can you please check on your daughter? I'm worried. She called me and said this, and I'm worried about her. Can you please go check? Because I know your mother's not going to do it. Can you please go check on her? Like, I really hope she called Pingfa and told her this.
Okay, so the grandmother's in the wrong for not noticing that little Nueng is crying and probably hasn't stopped crying in 2 weeks.
I don't
or
think she cares.
left her room.
I think it's one of those things where she's like, you'll get over it. You'll outgrow it. It'll be fine. Rub some dirt in it or whatever.
I do think that she's hurting because little Nueng is leaving, but just because it's the fact that she failed. She's hurt by that. So she's hurting Big Nueng for that because it's Big Nueng who was the catalyst for this.
Big Nueng's fault. It's Big Nueng. The whole thing's Big Nueng's fault.
Yeah, so it's always, I'm going to hurt you like you hurt me. Like, that's the moral of this whole episode.
Like the deplorables in America that I was talking about. Cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point. This was designed to hurt Big Nueng and also little Nueng. Because, like, she's like, you're my disappointment because I raised you better than this. Suffer for a bit. It's cruelty is the point. That's the point. There are people in the world who are just like this. The cruelty is exactly the point.
And it's insane.
It is insane. Hence, America. It's insane.
We're insane, apparently.
Many, many deplorables. Later that evening, Big Nueng is alone in her room, reflecting on the entire little Nueng situation. And she's hyperfixating specifically on little Nueng's words about not being able to see each other and wanting to end her life.
I mean, at least someone's caring that little Nueng doesn't want to live.
Yeah. I mean, Big Nueng's just proving she can never be in the secret of us.
Yeah. Yes, and that's a great thing. However, I would love to see Big Nueng and Ingfa in the same scene, too.
I mean, yes. Big Nueng. Yeah. I want to see Big Nueng in every scene, but anyway. It's been 2 weeks, and Big Nueng is already feeling the repercussions of distancing herself from little Nueng, and now things are, like, very dire. Like, she's on the cusp, potentially, of never seeing little Nueng ever again if she goes through with the suicide thing, if something goes wrong. And there's nothing she can do about it. She can't check up on her, just, like, nothing. It's, like, a moment of absolute hopelessness, and all she can do, the woman that spirals and gets in her head, is spiral and get in her head, which is exactly what she's doing. And I wonder in this moment if maybe Big Nueng feels like she made a mistake. And which is ironic, truly, because the whole dilemma she's been in the entire show, like her trauma from Song's death, really, is that she's been trying to figure out how to make better choices that don't negatively impact other people. Because remember when she left the palace, what she told Pingfa about the pregnancy stuff, that was all like basically Nueng being selfish. And I've explained this before, what I mean by that. And, like, she's trying to figure out, like, well, how do I put other people first? And, like, how do I come in? This was finally something where she's like, okay, we can all get what we want. This is the compromise if we can do this. And then, like, I selfishly get what I want. They get what they want. Like, it'll all work out. And, like, here's this terrible thing that's about to happen where, like, she loses everything. And just, like, how do you ever make a decision ever again? Like, if this really went south, you know?
That... But, like, and, like, I totally understand why Big Nueng overthinks every decision for this. But making better choices that don't harm others isn't really realistic. She can't accept this yet. But, because, like, decisions are always going to affect others. And you don't know how it's going to affect them. It's like the butterfly effect. You do one thing, it's going to have a ripple. So no matter what you do, there's infinite possibilities. So it just creates an even bigger spiral because you don't know what to do. Like, you can't know what to do.
Right. And that's just, you're right. That is life. But, like, Big Nueng is at the point where she's like, if I can think through every scenario possible, and if I can choose the one that's, like, the least, like, harmful, that's the best. And she just is trying really, and I understand where she's coming from. Like, it's really hard to make decisions. Decisions can be crippling for people to make because of all these what if scenarios that you try and play out in your head to figure out what is actually the best one, not just for me, but for everybody. And I feel so bad for her because, like, she's done a spiral. Like, she would spiral forever.
Spiral is, like, her middle name at this point.
Yeah, big spiral Nueng. I'm just kidding. So she's Big Nueng is big stressed and misses her other half, understandably. So what does she do? She tries to feel closer to Little Nueng by taking Little Nueng's advice, which is to listen to her favorite DJ radio talk show that she listens to when she's stressed. So Big Nueng gravitates to an iPad, computers Big Nueng, to play the radio show. And I want to give a shout out once again to the blank intern that designed the props, because I love that Big Nueng's background on the iPad, or the name of the radio station, I'm not sure, is called 9star. Good job, intern. I love it.
It's like, why make up a name? Let's just, it's
No!
the studio's name.
How do I listen to this? Google 9star. Just go down the rabbit hole. Anyway, love it. Good job, intern, who designed that. I just assume it's an intern. It's like something an intern would have to do.
Definitely
right.
props department, but yeah.
Yeah. So while Big Nueng sulks, CEO Juan serenades us with Big Nueng's theme song in the background from season 1. Because she clicks the radio, 9star radio, and then the CEO of 9star starts singing to us. So it's perfect. The intern. Good job, intern.
It is perfect.
It's perfect.
And I was paying attention to the lyrics, and you are right that these theme songs give everything away.
They give everything away. They spoil the whole show.
It's like,
Everything.
What is the main conflict? Listen to the theme song.
So you know what? Go the loyal pin, because in the first season, there's no lyrics. So you can't be spoiled by the theme song. Anyway, the loyal pin figured it out. But anyway, I love the theme songs, because then when you're sad and you miss the show, you just go listen to the theme song, and you're like, that. So I'm reliving the whole thing.
Which is a good and bad thing.
Yeah, it's
Depending
ups
on the
and downs. Yeah. All right, so Big Nueng turns on CEO Juan, listens to her serenade for a bit. Then she goes and doesn't, like, what was this move? She doesn't sit down on the bed. She doesn't take a seat. She sits on the floor. Big Nueng. Big, perfect Big Nueng. The ML Sipicorn chooses to sit on the floor. Because she's feeling low, all right? And so she's getting low, but not in the club way. In the I'm depressed way. Get low, get low. She's not going from the window to the wall.
Neither are we.
And this also
Anyway.
isn't red, white, and royal blue. Great scene. All right.
I have a quick side
Do
note
it.
for this part. So, Big Nueng sitting on the floor, very sad. Her lover is suicidal. Will she become one? I don't know. But at this point, I get an ad. Finding a therapist should be easy, not impossible.
I'm telling you. Okay, I had this same thing happen to me when I was watching Blake, and I was got a sad part. and got an ad. It might have been this. And got an ad that was just like that. Do you need therapy?
I was hoping it would be that one. And as soon as I realized what was happening, I paused.
Was it a black woman speaking to you? Because the ad I saw was like a black woman speaking to me.
No, they have so many ads.
I know, it's true.
I could have been like half their business is just creating commercials.
So funny.
But no, and I was like, okay. So weird thing about YouTube ads, you can't go backwards to like rewatch.
I know,
like a missed opportunity.
I wanted to go back and relive what just happened, and I couldn't. But I thought it was so funny, the placement of the ad, because it was a depressing moment in blank, and they're like, "Do you need a therapist?" And like, I just let it play. I was like, "You can get my money for this because this is perfect ad placement. Like, well done." It was so funny. But I'm pretty sure when it happened to me, it was like a crazy moment that was happening, not like a sad moment. It was like, I'm pretty sure it was, therapist?
I think it was early on in the show, and
I think it was 104. I think it was 104. I think it was
104. Like with the whole family stuff. Like
I just started laughing
or something, and then it was like, "Do you need therapy?
You need a therapist? I see what you're watching."
This.
Anyway, yeah, it was so funny. So yeah, the ad placements are super funny when it's like therapy in the show. Anyway, good job, YouTube. I thought that was funny. All right, so back to Big Nueng. So Kaitlynn got some therapy and went back and watched the episode. So Big Nueng's on the floor staring at the phone. And if you watch her, she's like caressing the phone, like tenderly. Almost like it's like, okay, I think she wants to contact Little Nueng. That's obviously what she wants because she's freaking out and she's worried about her. Hence the stress, hence 9 stars playing in the background. So it's like the phone is like the surrogate Little Nueng because like Little Nueng's in there. She could hear her in there if she could had the ability to like contact her, but Little Nueng doesn't have her phone, so it's like you're so close, it's so far away, kind of thing, right? And as she's caressing the phone, probably thinking about if I could only talk to her now, what would I say? She starts crying and in a very small voice says, "Nueng, I'm completely broken too. Like this is not. It's not one-sided," and it's really interesting that she's parroting back Little Nueng's words like verbatim. Because when Little Nueng said it, what was the follow-up line to that? It was, "I can't stand it. I don't want to live anymore."
Do you need therapy?
Right. Play the ad to Big Nueng, 9 star. Be like, "Do you need therapy?" Play the ad.
Finding a therapist.
9 star station.
Anyway.
So funny.
I find it interesting that it's now that she says this out loud. Because, again, she has a habit of saying things that Little Nueng needs to hear. But not to Little Nueng.
Correct.
Like, she can never say it directly. Granted, there is a lot more going on here. Like, you did bring up earlier how she felt like she couldn't, even if she wanted to tell her this. Because of the implications, but I think everything needs to go out the window right now. I mean, this girl needs some reassurance.
Right, but the problem is the grandmother confiscated the phone. She cannot, now it's too late. That's the thing. I think that's why she's sitting there caressing the phone and it's like, all of these are the things I wish I told you when I had the chance. This is like a regret moment because she feels like she made a mistake and now she's in the regret phase of that and being like, which I really hope she called Pingfa and she was like, "Pingfa, please check on her. I'm worried."
Oh, God, please. Because that's really the only ally.
That's the only person who would take that seriously. The only person. So I assume that's what happened because Little Nueng's still with us. So, okay. So anyway, this line, I just wonder how far along that line of thinking, because she's parroting Little Nueng's words, how far along that line of thinking was Big Nueng? Because she's clearly not in a good place. She's sitting on the floor, okay? She's down real bad and not in the Taylor Swift down bad. She's down bad crying at the gym. There we are. Anyway, but she's not petty yet. So, and then at this stage, she has no influence whatsoever over Little Nueng's family to like help or reverse this, aside from my headcanon that she probably reached out to Pigfa and was like, "Please watch out for her." So at this moment, she's just alone in her childhood home, the same place where Song died, and having really dark thoughts. And she's not sleeping. She's not eating. We've seen that. We saw that in the sadness montage. And even Sam can't fully help her right now. So...
she's on a downward spiral.
Right, I'm worried about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
right. I'm worried about her in this scene.
isolation isn't good for anyone.
No. And I also assume the lesbian ghosts in the Bua Palace also are not... they're worried about Big Nueng. And I'm pretty sure they hijacked the radio station to send Big Nueng a message. Because then a DJ starts speaking. And it kind of sounds like Juan. It kind of sounds like the CEO, but I don't know that it is the CEO. It would be really cool if it was. I don't know. Let us know in the comment if you know the voice for who did this. I'm just curious. Anyway. So the voice on the radio says, anyone who wants to share your story and call us. We can help you with we'll be your therapy. This is basically the YouTube insert that's like, do you need therapy? It's
do you need therapy?
You need some therapy? Call us, is basically what this was. And Big Nueng thinks on this for a minute. She's like, I do need some therapy, because this DJ out here offering solace for anybody who needs it, and Big Nueng really needs it. But more than that, she's fairly certain, because her dilemma right now is, I want to communicate with her. That's why she's caressing the phone. But she can't do that because Little Nueng doesn't have her phone. But Big Nueng learned about computers. And she's like, I'm pretty sure Little Nueng is listening to this show right now. Or at least that's what he's hoping. And sidebar, Big Nueng, if you just learned for 5 seconds how to use social media apps, you could be communicating with Little Nueng right now. She didn't need the phone to talk to you. I'm just throwing that out there. I hope you get there someday in case this happens again. Watch her get super paranoid that this will ever happen again, and she'll be like, we're doing all the things. I'm tracking your phone. You're tracking my phone. All the things. I'm setting up an emergency Facebook account, like, just in case. Like, she would go crazy at the end. And Little Nueng would be like, this is unnecessary because I'm never leaving you ever again. Like, here's these handcuffs. Never. We're never parting ever again. Anyway. So, bottom line, Big Nueng is like, Little Nueng listens to this when she's stressed. I know she's stressed. I heard her on the phone. She's probably listening to the show. And at this point, she's run out of options to communicate with Little Nueng, like I said. And also, like, to just feel closer to her, even if Little Nueng's not listening. I feel like this is Little Nueng's hobby. The one she was like, Big Nueng, please understand my hobby. And she tried to understand this hobby. So I feel like participating in the hobby is another way to just, like, be closer to her. Like, you know? So she's sitting there seriously considering calling the therapist DJ, right? But to call the therapist DJ on the live radio show involves sharing her personal life with strangers. Total strangers. And this is the opposite of what Big Nueng was raised to do. It's something that makes her super uncomfortable. Like, totally out of her comfort zone. Danger, right? That's what she was taught by her grandmother. So she's like, keep quiet and look perfect, be perfect at all times. Don't fucking talk to them. So she doesn't. That's why she's very closed off. But she's sitting here taking a hot second to think about this. And you kind of see her struggle with this decision because it's scary for her to personally, like, do this, okay? It's something that really terrifies her. But she's willing to do it for Little Nueng and also herself in this moment. Because in her mind, like, this is a balanced action in a way. Like, you know, like, I get to share my life and feel better. And maybe Little Nueng can hear it and feel better. And, like, we all win, right? Like, what could possibly go wrong?
What a loaded question.
Wow, isn't it? Isn't it?
Never ask what could go wrong, Theora. Come on now.
All right. So, then we cut over to Little Nueng, who is in fact alive, thankfully, and listening to the radio show. And we hear the DJ talking to their guest. And the DJ starts by saying Kun A, I think, or Kun A. It's Kun A on the subtitles. And I wonder, like, because it sounds like an alias to me, like caller number 1. You know what I mean? Where they de-identify people because, like, you're talking shit about other people, basically. And so it's like healthcare. You de-identify it and then talk about the case without the personal information. That's what it seemed like. We'll get to why I don't know what's going on, but, like, okay, that's the translation, okay? So I wonder about the alias, if this is what's happening, because I couldn't hear it when the DJ was actually speaking. So I wonder, like, did Nueng give the alias, or did the does the DJ like assign it where they're like, caller number 2, what is your story? You know what I mean? That's kind of what it gave me. It was like the DJ was saying this, right? Because privacy reasons.
I'm just curious how many people call in. So like, does everyone have to like give like a elevator pitch of their sad story, and then like the saddest one gets on the air?
Or is it just like you wait in a queue and then the next caller? That's usually how radio is. That's how radio shows in America used to work.
Yeah.
Back in the day with when you're calling in, right? But I don't know. But here's my theory. Like, if let's play the game. If Big Nueng gave the alias, okay, then it means she chose this alias, right? And Kun Ah is exactly what Little Nueng called her in the car when they were doing that flirting exchange in 204. So I wonder if Big Nueng's like, I'll use an alias that Little Nueng will recognize. As if Little Nueng wouldn't have your voice memorized. She's like, here's another clue, it's me, basically. Okay, but I'm going to point out the weird part that I think you also understand too, Kaitlynn. The weird part for me is that if that's all true, like it starts off with an alias, but then when Big Nueng starts talking to the DJ, she starts referring to herself as Kun Nueng. So I'm not sure why there's an alias in the translation.
Oh, no, that's not what I was talking about.
She ends up using her own name when she's speaking, and she refers to herself as Kun Nueng.
Oh, interesting. But
yeah, I was confused. Maybe it's a mistranslation. I don't know.
That's why I thought that she gave her their name. Gave them her name. There we go. That's the right pronounce. Because I know I'm jumping and like I'm not gonna like actually explain anything. But then she says when the person actually gets her to give Little Nueng the message, she says Nueng.
Nueng.
But I it's hilarious because it just sounds like she's in love with herself if they know her name.
I mean, it's Big Nueng. It's fine. Feel like I get it, call her. Although she can't see her, so whatever. All right. So as predicted, Little Nueng is in fact listening to her favorite show because she's hella stressed, and she's sitting there in Pingfa's room for her, caressing her stand-in Big Nueng, which is the cat plushie, because they share a brain cell. And by the first sentence, Little Nueng immediately recognizes the voice as Big Nueng. And then we get this really sweet monologue, basically, from Big Nueng, and reactions from Little Nueng, in which Little Nueng gets to hear how the relationship started and progressed from Big Nueng's point of view. And from everything we know about Big Nueng, the hermit, the one who guards her feelings, I get the impression that Big Nueng never divulged any of this information to Little Nueng before. As we've seen, and I pointed out many times, these two never directly talk about their relationship. So that tracks. And then Big Nueng also really struggles to confess her feelings. So here's Little Nueng at her lowest low, getting this uninterrupted love confession basically from Big Nueng. And to Big Nueng's credit, while she's talking to the DJ, she's honest. Like, she's very honest when she's, like, describing all of this. And Big Nueng explains the greatest hits, where Little Nueng started by following her around. She kind of stalked me.
I had a stalker.
This girl was stalking me and insisted we were dating, and then tried to move in, which was kind of weird, but, you know, at first in all seriousness, at first it started with this transactional relationship where she was like, I was an artist, she's the customer, and she would come in and ask me to draw her. Nothing weird. She gave me money. That was my job. It's fine. And I just thought nothing of it. I'm like, she keeps showing up. She must like my drawings. Must be great. And then she's like, can I move in? I was like, wait a minute. Which we all know. But from Big Nueng's point of view, she's like, there was like, basically, she explains there's something captivating about Little Nueng, particularly her eyes, which Big Nueng, as the artist drawing the caricatures, was forced to stare at while she drew Little Nueng. Because staring in that context is totally normal. And she stared a lot. Because Little Nueng showed up a lot and had so many drawings of herself from Big Nueng. Okay? And then Big Nueng explained something we weren't privy to, which is that while she was doing the caricature that Little Nueng paid her to do, Little Nueng would sit there and make faces at her. Like funny faces and shit. And I can imagine this playing out where Big Nueng's trying to draw her and she keeps making faces. She's like, you need to stop doing that. And she's like, be an asshole. She'll be, I'll stop drawing if you don't. Fine. It's just hilarious. It's so them. And then Big Nueng, through that, got to know Little Nueng's audacity, which was that Little Nueng kept insisting, you secretly like me. Which is so funny, the audacity of that statement. And Big Nueng on the phone with the DJ's like, the audacity of this bitch, right?
No, I love it. I was like, it was ridiculous. And like her little smile. And then
Little Nueng chuckles. You hear her laugh. She's like, I am an audacious bitch, aren't I? Like, you hear her laughing because she is. She's like, it's good times.
Section of this whole thing. I know it's like even like deeper later, but like this is my favorite. Like the amount of it just shows how much Big Nueng actually did appreciate that time in their relationship, even though she looked so annoyed.
And the amazing part was that Little Nueng saw through all her bullshit from the beginning, when Big Nueng was more closed off than she is now. All right, so like you said, cuts to Little Nueng. Little Nueng gives this little smile because, again, with all that audacity in the world, the bitch was right. She was right. She was right the whole time. And then Big Nueng circles back to the staring at Little Nueng's face part and mentions that Little Nueng's eyes were so stunning for her that she's like, when I looked in her eyes, it felt like the world stopped. And it cuts to the glasses scene that we have a problem with.
It always comes back to that damn
glasses. Always comes back to the glasses, right? Because again, it's supposed to be a symbol of many things, but like the implication that you can't have glasses on and be beautiful is just ridiculous. But anyway, it's just absurd. But
it is.
It was like an uninterrupted quiet moment of the two of them alone, and little Big Nueng was staring in Little Nueng's eyes, and she stayed there for a minute. And this is explaining what was happening when she was in that moment. Like, her heart stopped. The world, like, this is Heartstopper. The good Heartstopper, not the Chow's other version of Heartstopper, where she keeps offing people. This is Heartstopper.
That's the name of the Chow Panoy universe.
Heartstopper. She always offs at least one person. The Grandmam was a victim of Heartstopper in this series. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I think
my heart might stop.
We started that in a fair. I can't remember. We started doing that. But anyway, Heartstopper. Tell us we're wrong. That's the name of her universe.
It was
all right.
Yeah.
and then she also mentions that like Little Nueng had this very bright smile and that she never felt like this before, ever, with anybody, ever. And I like all the space imagery going on here, like the world stopping and using the word bright to describe her smile, because that invokes the sun, like sunshine, which is warm and beautiful and all these kinds of things. And every time Big Nueng is kind of explaining all this, it keeps cutting to Little Nueng, and she's just more engrossed in the radio show than she normally is. She's hanging on every single word of this because she's never heard this before. Because remember, she was just treated like she was annoying the whole time. And like, here's Big Nueng being like, no, like, she made the world stop for me, kind of thing. And Big Nueng confesses that like over time, she just wanted to be around Little Nueng. And she's like, it wasn't just her coming to me. Like, the relationship shifted from a Little Nueng came to me and wore me down kind of thing to Big Nueng wanting to go seek out Little Nueng to see her. Like, it shifted. And then Big Nueng admits that she didn't want Little Nueng to disappear. But she mentions that everything was going great, but then one time she disappeared from my life. So this was the time when like the parents came into town, or Pinkfa came into town, Chet came into her life, and the weird thing was happening where she's trying to shop with Pinkfa, and it got weird, and Little Nueng ran away. So I think that was it. Anyway,
no, there was two times.
No, I'm sorry, it wasn't that. That was a disappearing moment.
One.
It was the Chet one where it happened, and then like they weren't talking, and Big Nueng couldn't sleep. So she mentions like she disappeared once, and I couldn't sleep, right? Which we've seen that she amplifies her panic every time Little Nueng disappears. It gets worse. And again, what a victory for Little Nueng to hear all of this romantic stuff from Big Nueng, and like a validation that she was right the whole fucking time. And she's saying, I don't want her to disappear. Again, on the cusp of Little Nueng going to America in the morning. Okay? And then the biggest confession of all is the I've never felt like this with anyone confession. And I think Little Nueng kind of suspected Big Nueng is not somebody who just like willy-nilly gives away her feelings. But I don't think she knew the extent of that up until this point. Because like, she knows that Big Nueng's a bit of a loner. She doesn't have many friends. That's why when Juan Viva showed up, she's like, what do you mean, friends? You don't have friends. What kind of friend? What does this mean? And Sam shows up. She's like, who's this woman? Like, she doesn't know. She like has connections. And then Big Nueng was also like previously engaged. And then like Little Nueng over time figured out like Juan Viva, there's something happened there in the past. So like Big Nueng's not like relationship averse. Like, she's not avoiding them. She's kind of been in them in a way, right? But she's alone. And Little Nueng has made comments throughout their relationship that suggests that she knows that Big Nueng views her as some kind of exception. Like, remember when they got in the argument when the driving lesson and Big Nueng apologized like immediately because this was a disappearing moment, and she apologized, and Little Nueng's like, you don't apologize to anyone other than me, kind of thing. And she's always like, I can see you love me from space. Like, she gets the sense that she's an exception in Big Nueng's life. But I don't think that Little Nueng really knew that Big Nueng's feelings towards her were this unique. Like, never felt like this ever. She's 36 years old, right? I don't think she knew that until she heard it here. Like, how unique she is to Big Nueng. And so now Little Nueng knows that in all 30 plus years of Big Nueng's life, she is the only exception.
Oh my God.
And for Kaitlyn's brain, cue the Paramore song. You can sing it.
You are the only exception. You. That was presumptuous of you to think I knew that song.
You know it from Glee.
Oh,
that's why you know that
don't
song.
I? No, I know it before. It played on the radio all the time when I was in like middle school.
But I know you know it from Glee.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's fair.
Because we've talked about it. We talked about Glee.
Got it.
All right, so after this, Big Nueng pivots into the reality of their relationship with the DJ and how, like, it wasn't right. And I think what she said is right. She doesn't mean, like, in a right from wrong kind of way. I think she's meaning, like, there were problems. Like, it wasn't quite right in a way that, like, it wasn't perfect, I think is kind of what she's saying. And this is when Little Nueng, hearing this, starts crying. Because before, she's just hanging on every word. Now she's, like, crying. Because is this conversation not Little Nueng's experience, right? She's constantly on the roller coaster of emotions with Big Nueng, okay? And it's always, like, the high points are the happy fantasy moments, and the low points are, like, the tragic reality of their situation. And it's, you know, kind of going back and forth over and over again.
And with their relationship, it's always like, oh, I want to be with you, but. There's always a but. So she's like, damn it, again.
But, like, it is reality. So Big Nueng gets... When Big Nueng... So, remember, Little Nueng starts crying when they get to the sad part. And then Big Nueng starts crying when she gets to her most difficult confession, when she talks about how she let Little Nueng go because it wasn't quite right. There was something wrong with the relationship. She let her go. And she says, before I let her go, she asked me if I loved her. And she says, and it was a very easy question, but I refused to answer her. So, like, let's unpack this for a second. So, and then remember, this is the part where Big Nueng is, like, struggling to, like, say this to the DJ. Because to me, I think this is her biggest regret. Because I was mentioning, I wonder if she realizes or is thinking, did I make a mistake? Am I going to regret this forever the way I regretted, like... Because, again, she's song triggered. And that's been her journey with the song's aftermath stuff, right? Is that the regrets of it. And Little Nueng helped her through that and all that kind of stuff. I think she's back in that kind of place. So she admits to Little Nueng and the world that she let Little Nueng go, which Little Nueng probably took as an admittance that Big Nueng chose not to fight, which probably made Little Nueng more upset, which is probably why she's crying.
Yeah. That's probably fair to assume.
Yeah, but Big Nueng admits, basically when Little Nueng asked, do you love me, was an easy question. Because again, Little Nueng, you can't see the answer from space. So it is an easy question. And she admits that she, again, refused to answer it on purpose. So, like, why would she do that? Because it goes back to what I said earlier. Big Nueng knew if she confessed in that moment, if she was truly honest in that moment, that Little Nueng would choose her immediately. In the conversation with the family, Little Nueng already showed she chose Big Nueng, right? And she said, fuck my family, I choose you. And she knew if she just said it right then and there, Little Nueng would choose her in that moment and never look back. Never. And while Big Nueng wants that, because then she gets Little Nueng to herself forever, because she does want that. No matter how much she oscillates, that is at the core what she actually wants. She doesn't want to be Little Nueng's villain origin story, and I've gone over this a million times. She does not want the scenario that Mon and Sam were fighting about in the show, when Sam's like, did you regret loving me? She doesn't want that to play out. Remember they had that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
She's afraid of that. That's what she's afraid of. But most of all, she doesn't want Little Nueng to regret choosing her, because Little Nueng didn't know any better and she might leave her one day. So that is the big fear here. And after the DJ shows some empathy towards Big Nueng's pain. So good job, DJ. Little Nueng totally be this DJ, because she is very empathetic. Big Nueng then launches into more of it, where she's basically the crux of it, where she's saying, like, she confesses in the relationship she felt like she was being selfish. And she's like, it wouldn't be fair for me to just keep her, which is what she wants, right? And again, from past experiences, when Big Nueng chooses something that she wants, something that's selfish, where she's putting what she wants first, it ends up hurting the people she loves. So she's like, I'm afraid of that happening. And she desperately wants to believe Little Nueng when she says her feelings won't change. She wants to believe Little Nueng when she tells her that she knows what their future is going to look like. And she's okay with that, which was the point of the end of 204, that very last scene of them on the couch. Big Nueng wants to believe all of that. She wants to be the believer that Little Nueng is, but she's scared. A lot of the conflict here in the show is Big Nueng's, she's scared. And Big Nueng has the life experience to, like, confirm the fear that she has, and Little Nueng doesn't. And I mean, what I've been feeling over the past few days because of America, what Big Nueng's feeling, the world isn't fair. It just isn't. The world is not a fair place. Idealism rarely works out. The world isn't just. It just is what it is, because people are imperfect, and that's the reality of the thing. And they're stuck dealing with these family members who are crazy. I'm just going to say it. And so they have to, and there's no escaping them at this point in time, right? And Big Nueng found out all of this when she ran away to become the artist, right? And as the Grand Man pointed out in Blank, remember when they had the argument in season 1 where Sam coerces her into dinner with the Grand Man at that restaurant? Mm-hmm. And the Grand Man basically slapped Nueng with the truth, and she was like, successful? You can't come out here and tell me you're successful when you're, like, living off of Sam's money. How are you successful? How did this work out for you? Right? Because that moment showed Nueng that, like, she wasn't succeeding like she thought she was. Like, she was under the illusion of achieving her independence at that time. Like
because
I love
really,
her, but
it was Sam's independence.
Yeah, like, she was living off of her, like, she really didn't achieve the thing she set out to achieve. So, and bright, beautiful Little Nueng bleeds optimism. Like, her heart beats optimism, okay? It's part of being young. And I think that difference really terrifies Big Nueng a lot. That's part of where I think her age gap insecurity really comes from. And after Big Nueng's confession, it cuts to Little Nueng, who's still struggling to process all these things that Big Nueng just said. And what Big Nueng is really confessing to her is that with every decision she made, Big Nueng in her brain was constantly thinking about Little Nueng and trying to put her first. Like, she was thinking about Little Nueng's future specifically, which she's harped on a million times. And she was putting Little Nueng first at the expense of her own happiness. Hence the line, like, it would be selfish of me to keep her to myself. And she's crying. You can hear her crying on the phone, like, that she's upset about this. And as I mentioned in our last episode, this is essentially Big Nueng sacrificing herself for Little Nueng. That's what a lot of this is. And by doing that, she'd spend the rest of her life suffering with this decision, potentially, to save Little Nueng. And sacrificing oneself to save others is a very feminine-coded trait, which is the opposite of Big Nueng, the character's visual coding, because she's more like masculine-coded in a lot of her actions and like her wardrobe a little bit, things like that. So I wonder if the self-sacrifice that Big Nueng has been making, and we've been talking about, because we can see it, but Little Nueng, I don't think really saw it, and I wonder if part of that was because she sees Big Nueng as more masculine coded, and the more masculine action for fighting, quote, for the relationship would be for her to like go on the offensive all the time and do what Little Nueng has been doing. And so I wonder if she missed what was happening, because like you wouldn't expect somebody like Big Nueng to handle this the way she was handling it. Just food for thought there.
It's a good thing to think about.
Then the DJ asks Big Nueng, all right, if your lost love is listening now, is there anything you'd want to tell her? And Big Nueng says, no. Why? All the reasons I just went over. She's admitting her true feelings to sacrifice her happiness for Little Nueng. Bottom line, that's what she's doing. Then the DJ.
Poor Little Nueng. Hold on. Poor Little Nueng is listening to this. Like, what do you mean there's nothing you want to say to me? Why'd you call?
Don't worry. The DJ. Because Big Nueng is afraid of influencing Little Nueng's decision making. Remember that. That's what she's afraid of. So then the DJ comes in with empathy and is like, an emotional intelligence. All of Little Nueng's skills. She is perfect for this radio show. And asks, well, okay, Big Nueng. Or Kun-ah, whatever your name is. If she's not listening, is there anything you'd like to say? She's like, and then the DJ encourages Big Nueng, like, be sincere with your feelings. Like, get this weight off your chest. What is burdening you is basically what she's saying. Because even the DJ can tell that Big Nueng is holding back the truth. And that's also what frustrates Little Nueng. That is what, I don't think Little Nueng 100% doubts that Big Nueng loves her. It's just like, she's annoyed and heartbroken that she can't be truthful and, like, be honest with her and like fight for her feelings basically all the time. She's always like denying herself. She just wants to hear it. Yeah, she wants her to act on it. Okay, so then Big Nueng being like, okay, in the scenario where Little Nueng's not listening, because she doesn't know for sure Little Nueng's listening. She's banking on it, but then she's like, okay, what if she's not? Like, and also again, she was sitting there looking at the phone, being like, I regret not telling you things. So she's weighing with the decision: do I be selfish or selfless in this moment? And she chooses to be selfish. And she gathers all of her courage and then addresses Little Nueng directly, the person who's not supposed to be listening, and tells Little Nueng, Nueng, I love you too. Or I love you. And again, I think she chose to say that of all the things because her big regret was not answering the easy question, have you ever loved me? And I think if it came down to anything, Big Nueng would want Little Nueng to know that more than anything. And I think part of the reason she's saying it now is because Big Nueng sitting on the floor. She's down real bad. I think she feels like she lost. She lost everything. She feels broken, just as hopeless as Little Nueng feels about this. And she's got nothing left to lose. She's like, even if she does hear me, what does that change? They're taking her away tomorrow. So why not be honest about the selfish feelings? What does she have to lose, really, at this point? And then in true Big Nueng fashion, she says nothing and just ends the call.
I didn't even catch that.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. She just ends this call. Says nothing. She's out of it, but like, it's such a Big Nueng thing.
DJ's reaction then.
Hello? Kuna.
First of all, this whole story goes on for so long without the DJ saying anything, and there are significant pauses in there, which is probably very awkward on the radio.
Super awkward.
And the DJ says nothing, so I don't know if the DJ was like, what the hell is happening?
Is she okay?
The DJ was definitely like that after. Like, okay, well, usually... we have to get your permission to use this for social media. I'm not actually, but you never know. Like, you're not supposed to just hang up, but
He just hangs up. It's so Big Nueng. I love her so
like,
much.
I got what I needed out of this.
She's done. She's done. Meanwhile, after hearing Big Nueng's love confession, Little Nueng does exactly what Big Nueng was afraid of. She chooses, Big Nueng's love confession influences Little Nueng's behavior, and she chooses Big Nueng over everything else. The exact scenario that Big Nueng's afraid of starts coming into fruition right now. So Little Nueng flees Ping Fu's house and goes out to wait by the curb to get a taxi to get the fuck out of there. And then she calls Big Nueng while she's waiting for a taxi to appear. And Big Nueng answers the phone, says nothing. And Little Nueng is the one this time who just launches into it. And she says, I heard everything. I'm not going anywhere. I love you. I'm coming to see you right now. Because fuck all of this. Which is her energy from the conversation with the family. Here it is again. All she needed was the green light from Big Nueng. We're in this together. Fuck my family. That's exactly what she's doing. Exactly what Big Nueng was afraid of. Doing it right now.
Yeah.
But Big Nueng
was very smart.
Yep. Mm-hmm. This is why she's doing what she's doing. Okay? So, Big Nueng's relieved to hear this because she's broken. Okay? She thought Little Nueng was going to off herself. She's hearing her voice. You're alive. There's a lot of relief happening. Okay? And all that relief of just hearing Little Nueng's voice and hearing what she's saying silences the warning bells in her mind. And instead, she just lets herself feel the joy. Because in the self-sacrificing female is always denying themselves happiness. Always. That's the power, right? So she lets herself feel the happiness, finally. And you see that visually, Fi shows us that, because she starts wiping the tears. Like, she's not sad anymore. Her happiness is coming back. And she literally smiles. Okay?
Okay, but during this happy, happy moment, on the screen, the lyrics say, should I put an end to everything right now? Cut to the next part. Go ahead, P.
When theme songs ruin the show, okay? If you are somebody who doesn't like being spoiled, turn off the subtitles when theme songs in the Thai girl love shows are playing, because they will tell you everything that's about to happen in the thing you're gonna watch, okay? Just FYI, PSA. Okay. So, in her desperation to see Big Nueng even faster, Little Nueng, on the phone with Big Nueng, jumps out into the street to hail a taxi that she sees. But she forgot to look both ways. And she forgot you're not in America, okay? You're not in America. She was looking left. Their cars come from the right. I don't know what taxi
she was looking the wrong way.
She was looking the wrong way. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what taxi she was trying to get, because the car, you go in the wrong... It doesn't matter.
She's
movie
not
magic.
in America yet, girl. What the
I know, girl. You don't come to
your
America, girl. Anyway, don't come here. Just don't do it. And there's a car coming in the actual direction she's been looking. So, and keep in mind, while this is happening, Big Nueng is still on the phone with Little Nueng. And what does she hear? We cut to her. She hears screaming, honking, a crash noise, and then the silence. And this goes down way differently in the book. I'll get to there in just a second. It's very Chow style, the way it goes down in the book.
I need to know now.
Let me finish this first, and then I'll get to the book. Okay. So Big Nueng hasn't spoken since the I love you on the radio. But once she hears everything that just went down with the car crash, she jolts and panics. Like, all the happiness is gone. She's panicking again. And she starts calling Little Nueng's name over and over. And, like, her voice gets more and more desperate and broken, and just because there's no response, there's just silence. So this is an actual nightmare that's playing out right now, okay? But Big Nueng looks to see if she, like, did she hang up on her? Like, the phone's still there. It's connected. The call's connected. And she just Big Nueng, in character Big Nueng, keeps saying Nueng over and over again and just leaves. Like, she exits stage left. Because I assume she's just going to go to Ping Fu's, where she knew that Little Nueng was. Or, like, get the mob. Whatever she has to do to go find her. And the last shot is the aftermath of the car accident, which is Little Nueng with blood everywhere. The phone. What a cliffhanger.
Okay, but I believe we said this in the reaction video for the last episode. So take note of what she looks like right now, because I'm pretty sure the injuries don't match up to what she looks like right now, or this accident in the next episode. Not fully, right?
It's more like she has a head injury, which you can see like a lot of the blood is coming from like probably the back of the head.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because like, car would have to like hit her torque. I would expect her to have broken ribs and shit if you actually have blunt force trauma from a motor vehicle accident where it's hitting you, like, I didn't hear brakes. So, I mean, like.
The car was like, the hug was enough. That was your warning. Get out of the way.
Right, like the force of that, she'd have other injuries. But yeah, it's just like mostly, because they're trying to set up the coma stuff. So it's like brain injury. Which, fair. Okay. Did you want to say your random comment before I get into the Chow version of this?
I don't know. What do you think? Kaitlyn's random corner or Chow? Both are really random.
Let me get into Chow, because Chow
is... I figured that was the...
Chow is more relevant.
Yeah,
okay.
Logical.
So the way this goes down in the book. Okay. So, similar scenario kind of play. The radio thing, that was directly from the novel, where like Big Nueng calls this time, Little Nueng calls next time. It's a good bookend. It's very cute. That happens. So after she calls, Little Nueng calls her and is like, I'm coming, I'm getting a taxi right now. And Little Nueng does get in a taxi and starts driving over to see Big Nueng. And Big Nueng's like so excited and like, oh my God, she's coming over. It's like the happiest inner monologue you've ever heard from this woman is playing in her mind right now or whatever. And then she gets a phone call. And it's some dude calling from Little Nueng's phone. And it's like, who is this? And she's like, what's going on? And this guy's calling her and he's like, there was a really bad car accident where this taxi was driven off the road. The driver's dead. And the passenger whose phone this was is like being taken away in an ambulance. I was just trying to call somebody to let them know, basically. It was like a cop that was like calling her, I think. But yeah, Chow is like, great, I can murder someone else and like off the taxi driver out of like, so.
You know what should have happened? The taxi driver should have had a heart attack while driving the car, and that's what should have.
I forget what like why they ran off the road, but it was like much more like horrific car accident where like one person did die in it, and then Little Nueng's in like critical condition being taken away in the ambulance. So like because she gets the call, Big Nueng knows what hospital she's headed at, so that's how she ends up at the hospital, because they tell her over the phone, and so she gets there. Versus here, I guess I don't know how she got to the hospital. I guess she had to like track down, I don't know what happened. Did she have
Find My Friends on?
Right, like does she like, because I can't see her hanging up the phone willingly with Little Nueng. So I wonder if she like tried to make another call, like while that's on speaker, to like call the cops and be like, there was an accident, I think, I don't know, can you go to this address? And maybe it played out that way off screen. But Juana Soren, thank you for saving the taxi driver that dies in the book. You're not Heartstopper. Chow is Heartstopper. He keeps offing people.
Oh my God.
She's like the George R. R. Martin of like, if you don't know who that is, that's the writer of the Game of Thrones series, The Song of Ice and Fire, who loves offing people. She's the George R. R. Martin of Thai girl love novels. Like she always is like, murder, let's do it. Someone's dying in those novels. Always. There's always at least one death.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, what's your fun fact? I hope it's uplifting.
I don't know if you read it, and I have a feeling you read the... Okay. So, Kaitlyn's Random Corner, that hasn't been here since before
Motherland.
Big A Energy was Big A Energy.
Yeah, literally.
But there was no other name for this section. Okay.
It's still the right name for this section.
So I looked at the phone. Why, I don't know. Okay, so
Kaitlynn.
I zoomed in as much as I could on this phone. And I just have a couple things to say.
Is the blank intern in trouble?
No. It's just literally, this has to be someone's actual phone.
Probably.
Unless they green screened it, which is plausible as well. But she has an unread text message, and I just want to know who it's from.
What the fuck? Who's texting her? Was it Nueng?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, this is very blurry. but I do have the same phone. So I'm pretty good with the notifications at the top, and like the way it looks like the message notification. Okay. Next. She keeps her phone charged. Means she's responsible, right? It looks like her phone's charged around 83%.
This is so random. I love it. Okay, we're learning things about Little Nug. That's great. So she, like Big Nug, leaves you unread, and she's responsible with her things. That's good.
I apologize if any of this is wrong, but this is just like what my random brain thought of 6:30 this morning. Okay, so if you notice on the phone, there is this little video icon, and it's grayed out in the middle of all of these other like white icons. Okay, this means it's
you can do like, video calls.
You can do video calls, but she cannot video call Big Nueng, which means it's possible that Big Nueng disabled them on her phone, not allowing people to video call her.
She would do that, honestly. She's a hermit. I can see her doing that. Or I can see her accidentally doing it and not knowing she did it. Like, again, she's somebody who doesn't strike me as somebody who's wants to learn a lot of technology or is pretty good at it. So, like, she would be the person that, like, deletes all the apps. I was like, how did I do that? I don't know. I just did. I can see her doing that.
Like, my grandmother using the phone, like, can you fix this for me?
As one of my favorite comedians, Eddie Izzard, who you went to see with me, has a skit at the end of one of his she transitioned. She transitioned, and her like one of her skits is basically about like how the world's gonna end. Like it's Armageddon. The world's gonna end with like the downfall of technology kind of stuff, and like she's doing like an old person trying to use a computer, and it's just like trying to connect to the internet, and they're like, I deleted the modem. No, I deleted the whole internet. Like, how did I do? Like, people who don't understand how to wield technology will like fuck everything up because they don't know what they're doing. Nueng is that person for me. She was like, what do you mean? I gave you a virus. Like, you know what I mean?
A virus? I'm not sick.
Right, like she would do shit like that. Like she's that bitch, and I love her for that. In my head canon, that's just she's bad at technology.
Thank you. That was a great addition. So that is what we learned from Big Nueng's phone that has fallen lifelessly
Little
to
Nueng's
the ground. Little Nueng's phone, sorry.
It's okay. I love the unread text message. That's my favorite part. All right. Well, hey, so we gave you some levity and something else to think about with this really sad ending, or really, really emotionally distraught cliffhanger. If you watched our reaction video for this particular episode, we didn't read the book, and there was a lot of screaming. Good job, Wanda Soren. We were screaming when we got here for the very first time. And theorizing about what was going to happen in the finale, which we'll be covering the finale next.
Who knows how many parts?
I can't believe that. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of Pigfa's in it, so it's probably be like 10 hours. For some reason, we love talking about Pigfa.
I love how I said that as if I didn't know that Pigfa was in it. I mean, obviously Pigfa's in it.
It's mostly Big Nueng. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Taylor Swift songs?
Yeah, I got some stuff.
All right, what you got?
Well, no, Big Gay Energy Award.
All right, Big Gay Energy Award. Ooh.
Mine's Big Nueng getting the courage to talk about their relationship on the radio, because that was really big for her to even admit it and to talk to the public.
And to not be like him or use gender neutral stuff. Like, called her a girl. Like, she literally said like the gendered word, I think. So good
yeah,
for
I'm pretty sure.
And then she used her name.
Yeah, no.
How many Nuengs really are there? Anyway.
And then used Little Nueng's name, too.
I love her so much. She's good. She ultimately, at the end of the day, doesn't give any fucks. Like, really, she doesn't. She's just worried about the family stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the Big Gay Energy Award to Sam for trying to console Nueng.
I have another award.
Okay.
I have a homophobia award.
Is it Chet?
which should be Chet, but it's not because I didn't actually think this one way through.
Okay, I keep it better. I can't wait.
The homophobia award goes to the car that hit Little Nueng.
That is fair. That is fair. All the limes for you, car. But it could have been worse because we could have killed the driver like Chow would have. And did in the novel. Okay. Taylor Swift songs. Okay, so Nueng is I Almost Do most of this episode. Because again, the Do You Love Me? Do you want to call I want to call you, but I almost do? That's Big Nueng. Oh, Big Nueng's in her red era right now. She's at home singing all too well to herself. Like, she's in her. This was a big break. That's really what that album is about. It's about, like, a big emotional, like, first love ends. And the actual visceral heartbreak that comes with that, Taylor Swift nailed it with her lyrics. Like, nailed it. It's exactly what it feels like. Big Nueng is the red album in this episode. Just the red album. And then poor Lil Nueng can't even be 22 because she's trapped in this fucking house with these psycho parents of hers.
She's not feeling 22.
She's not feeling
52.
She's feeling 6 years old, okay? Not even that.
Somewhere between 6 and 52 because, like,
but
she
not
has
22.
been aged by all this.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's true, also being treated like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Because I've been talking about hours for so long, I'm not going to make you guys watch the music video, which is technically just Patreon, but I'm not going all in like Theora did, because this is pretty straightforward. So let's dive in a little bit to hours. I don't really know what elevator... Okay, you know what? Elevators and morning... Yeah, hold on. Kaitlynn, focus. It's been a long day. Elevator buttons and morning air. That's going to be Little Nueng following Big Nueng to her apartment.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Tracks.
Stranger silence makes me want to take the stairs because Little Nueng doesn't want to be around strangers. Like, no people. No. Neither does Big Nueng. Let's be real. They both don't want to. But if you were here, we'd laugh about their vacant stairs. And I feel like if Big Nueng was with Little Nueng right now, they'd be like, this fam. I mean, if they didn't have to actually care about the family, they'd be like, these bitches.
Yeah.
But right now, my time is theirs. So, Little Nueng, like, her whole life is theirs right now.
Whether she likes it or not.
And then, like, the next one is just... I'm just going to read the whole thing because it seems like there's always someone who disapproves. They'll judge it like they know about me and you, and the verdict comes from those with nothing else to do. The jury's out, but my choice is you. You're singing it, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's amazing that I'm not right now. So, like, this perfectly describes their relationship. So don't you worry your pretty little mind. People throw rocks at things that shine, and life makes love look hard. The stakes are high, the water's rough, but this love is ours. Like, people are always going to get in the way, but as long as we care about each other, that's all that matters.
Basically, they're haters and they're jealous.
Hate is gonna hey.
That's not.
We're just doing all the Taylor Swift songs right now. Okay, ready? Next one. I didn't write this down, so I'm reading the lyrics in them, but wait for the next one. You never know what people have up their sleeves. Freaking Chet.
Yeah, I was just literally.
I'm not even going to explain this. I'm just going to say random comments. You can all figure it out from our discussions. Ghosts from your past gonna jump out at me. First of all, lesbian ghosts or Juan Viva.
Pingfa. Sam, to a degree, in the beginning, where she was like, is that your girlfriend? And it's her sister. Literally song. And her ghost.
Yeah. Lurking in the shadows with their lip gloss smiles. I'm gonna change that to stalking us in the shadows with their mischievous grins. Because that's what I'm picturing right now. All right. So then it goes back to we're going to skip forward. And it's not theirs to speculate if it's wrong. And your hands are tough, but they are where mine belong, and I'll fight their doubt and give you faith. Okay. So this is Little Nueng. Because
this whole song is Little Nueng singing to Big Nueng.
Yeah.
The whole song. This is Little Nueng's point of view.
I do have another song too. I'm going to get through these really quickly. But that's also Little Nueng. Because, Little Nueng fights so freaking hard for this relationship.
She's Taylor Swift.
And, Big Nueng silently does, with action, we went through it. You listen to the discussion. We've been here for so many hours today. Anyway. So, your hands are tough, but they're where mine belong. So her walls are tough. Not, just her hands. She has tough, you gotta get through to her. But you belong together.
Also, your hands are tough for her to hold also. Because in the beginning, remember, Little Nueng's always trying to hold her hand. And Big Nueng's like, stop it! Stop hanging on me! And she's like, I'm so tired. I just hang on me. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'll fight their doubt and give you faith. This girl has been trying to alleviate all Big Nueng's doubt. All of it. It's so much. I'm tired for her.
But the thing is, though, a lot of Big Nueng's actions come from a place of trauma. And healing or learning to live with trauma is a process. You're not going to cure Big Nueng of her trauma like that, she does make progress with her over time. But, a lot of this is her trauma manifesting. And it's that's kind of going to be the relationship to some extent, because she's going to get triggered, and this is what she does when she gets triggered. Trauma
does a great deal on the brain, and was the next thing I shall be researching, because it comes up in every show, basically.
Every show.
Trauma is a big part of life in general, because we don't understand how much, such a little thing could be traumatic for us. And, it doesn't seem like it should be, or it could be, but so much is traumatic. And, we think of trauma, again, a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, we think of soldiers. In America, this is what we were, taught.
Yes. And I will say, from a medical point of view, as somebody who studied medicine, we don't know anything about the brain. We know so little about our brains. It's actually terrifying. And so I had to learn all the medicines that work on our brain. And it's we think it does this, but we don't really know. We don't really know what's going on with the brain. We're migraines, we kind of think this is how they happen, but we don't really know. There's so much we don't know about the brain, because honestly, studying brains would be unethical in many ways. So you can't blame scientists for not understanding. We don't understand how our brains work. We really don't. The amount of things that we actually know on a scientific level about how our brains work is very small. It's so small. So understanding trauma is a new concept, because we literally don't know. There's so much we don't know about our brains. It's actually terrifying how little we know about brains.
Interesting.
Really,
I didn't know that there's... I mean, yeah, because there's a lot of things that
which is why when you go through, you're going through something mental health-wise and they give you meds, okay? I'll tell you this. It's trial and error, because we literally don't know. So you just have to... and everyone chemically is very different, and we don't know how the chemicals really work, truly. And so it's very much try it, let it normalize in your body, which takes about a month. Tell me how you feel. Did it work? No? Let's try something else. Because we have no idea. We literally don't know. We don't know anything.
Medicine testing is the worst thing ever. But
it takes forever.
And then you get... Okay, so I'm just going to say the name. I was given Wellbutrin. They're it could help with this and this and this. And then I had another doctor oh yeah, they just kind of use that as a catch-all, trying to... Because it could have an effect on these things.
Right, but everybody's so different, we don't know if it's going to work for you. Oh, Kaitlyn's gone.
Go, Kaitlynn! I hit a button on my mouse and it went back. I'm so
I
sorry.
was like, Caitlin's like, enough of this shit. Anyway, continue with Taylor Swift. We can talk about brands all day, and the people don't want that. They're here for blank content.
Okay, because I love the gap between your teeth. I wasn't going to say this line, and then I realized this says gap, so I had to say it.
I love the gap between our H's.
Yeah. Yes. And I love the riddles that you speak, because this girl has roundabout away saying everything to her.
No, that is 100% Big Nueng. Miss lying by omission. Yeah, that's Big Nueng.
And any snide remarks from my father about your tattoos will be ignored, because my heart is yours. Okay. So, obviously, snide remarks from my father, like, that makes fully sense. But
100%.
we're going to use father as family as well, because the tattoos is Big Nueng's past and trauma and everything that she brings with her. Basically, her baggage, kind of. So, that's what they're all talking about. And the grandmother threw it in her face this episode.
You don't have parents, which is why you're a horrible person. How dare you say that to somebody? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, she chose for her parents to die. 'Cause chow. Like, let's be honest. Like, wow. That pissed me off so much. Anyway,
Talk about snide remarks.
Yeah. Even Pinkfa had some snide remarks for Nueng when she was coming for her. Like, I mean, in the beginning where she's like, why does my daughter love you more than... You know what I mean? She also had her share of snide remarks towards Big Nueng. Came from a different place, but, like, she, you know, yeah, family. All the family.
Okay, so that's it for ours. I'm not going to go through every single section. Just wanted to point it out. A couple, like, all the verses,
Go listen
basically.
to it. It's a really good song.
It's really good. I
I
really like that one. Okay, so the next one is actually a flip between the two. The next song is called Mine.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Yes, love Taylor Swift, but go watch the Naya Rivera version because, oh my god.
First of all, it's sapphic because she's
Yes.
singing it to her girlfriend that she's about to break up with, which is... Fuck the Glee writers.
Ignore that part.
Fuck the Glee writers.
Looking at
Anyway,
Naya.
go listen to Naya sing because she sings like an angel, or
Oh my
sang like an
gosh,
angel.
it's
R.I.P.
amazing.
girl. I love you forever.
Love you. Okay, so it starts with you were in college working part-time waiting tables. Left a small town, never looked back. So, I mean, little Nueng's in school. And she's in a small town, meaning she's stifled in her house right now.
But she wants to never look back, but Big Nueng's like, no, you gotta look because you gotta deal with these
people.
No,
you have to. You have to. She's trying to leave.
She's trying.
She's like,
to
I
never
don't
look.
want this.
Just play her the Taylor Swift song. Also, Big Nueng wouldn't get it. She'd be like, I don't get it. Like, oh, girl.
And now, so that's talking about Little Nueng. And now it's Big Nueng saying, I was a flight risk with a fear of falling.
Oh, yeah.
Wondering why we bothered with love if it never lasts. So, again, she doesn't know love. Well, she does, like, familial love, because, like, that didn't last with Song. So...
Her grandmother.
That, too. So, and she is a flight risk, because that is her response.
She is the biggest flight risk. She sure is. Actually, I would say playing an affair is worse, but Big Nueng is a big flight risk.
No one can beat playing.
Yeah, you can't. She's the biggest. Like, because those two characters, this is not really a spoiler for Affair, but, like, the characters are very flight or fight coded. Like, extreme flight or fight coded. Like, Big Nueng, I think we've said this before, Big Nueng and Little Nueng are, like, on the spectrum of flight or fight, but, like, they're very extreme on that show.
Because even when they're together, they're still in
There's a flight risk. Like, it's the whole time. She's a flight risk the whole time.
But we don't realize this until the last episode, like, Theora and I.
The flight or fight
that's
thing,
when we put things together. And
oh,
like,
yeah.
Shit.
Oh, shit.
Whereas I put the big gay energy, the Big Nueng, the blank mental health stuff together in the first episode. It took us the whole show.
It did.
Okay, so Big Nueng, I say, can you believe it? As we're lying on the couch, because we know that's Big Nueng's and Little Nueng's safe space. They like to read on the couch together.
And I will say, it was very sad in this episode to see at the beginning of the episode, I think, when the chat conversation happened. It's really sad because Big Nueng was on the couch reading by herself. Which is sad because she likes to read with Little Nueng. I just realized that. Poor Big Nueng.
Well, now I'm just making this sad. Oh, shit. You want me to keep going? Or stop? You were in college working part-time, waiting tables. There's a small town, never looked back. I was a flyer risk with a fear of falling, wondering why we bother with love if it never lasts. I say, can you believe it? As we're lying on the couch. This is not in the right tune. The moment I can see it, yeah. I can see it now. Do you remember we were sitting there by the water? You put your arm around me for the first time. I made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. You are the best thing that's ever been mine.
Kinja,
That's what I was doing while you were gone.
Kinja.
Hi, Kinji.
Kinja, here. No, here. Here. Come here. It's all right. It's okay. Come here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. Almost done. It's okay. It's okay. She was very triggered by something at the door that she stood on her hind legs and barked. She was like, oh my god! What does that accomplish?
Oh, Kinji.
I've never seen her do that before. That was weird. It's okay. Everything's fine.
She's like, I'm a bear.
Yeah, she was cosplaying a bear. I don't know what he thought that would accomplish, but okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
Really quickly.
Oh, it's okay. She's fine.
Do you remember?
No.
Do you remember? Do you remember?
This is getting more unhinged the longer we go.
I have been up.
Do you remember? Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot.
What?
I know. That's not a... I was doing V for Vendetta. I know of no reason by the gunpowder treason shall ever be forgot. The Guy Fawkes speech.
Oh, that's a movie. I didn't pay attention to that one.
It's a great movie.
I should watch it one day. Maybe we should watch it together.
It's not...
Okay.
Oh, it is. There's queerness in it, actually.
It is queerness. Because the first time I heard of it was during QFX movie nights.
It's really good. Natalie Portman
trauma.
Also. And trauma. There's also lots of trauma. It's based on historical events. So, like, it's... Yeah. So, anyway, there's that. I'm gonna go watch that.
Okay. Do you remember? We were sitting there by the water. Because we were always sitting by water. Because that's just accurate. You put your arm around me for the first time. You made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. Okay. So,
I mean, where's the lie in that line?
Okay. The
Also,
thing is,
careful.
I'm still doing this as, like, this is Big Nueng, and, like, I know careless man, like, dude, that is Chet, but,
It's definitely Chet.
You put your arm around me for the first time. I'm thinking that this is when they first go away, and this is when we get the Satan. No, that's a different thing, but, like,
I'm sorry. I get the Pluto passage.
It's right.
We still don't know what Pluto's about, but we will soon enough. We're gonna watch.
They do read Pluto.
They do read Pluto.
I still don't know what it is. Soon, very, very soon, Theo.
Soon we won't be able to say that anymore.
Yes. Okay, so like this time, like that was the first time that they really, really spent alone. Like, I think I don't know, it's been a while, but
that's also
it was a very defining moment.
Oh, it was a hugely defining moment. It could also be like, remember the art lesson that she gave Little Nueng? They were by a lake. They were by a body of water.
That is true.
In the stills we saw, they never made it on screen. Big Nueng did do the art lesson where she did have her like arm around Little Nueng. So there's also that. So you could also read it from Little Nueng's point of view. If that image was canon, which I don't know that it was, but the truth is out there. The image exists.
Okay, you know what? Yes to that. And then also, we're going to flip it to Little Nueng with "You made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter."
Where's the lie?
Little Nueng is careful at home, but when she saw Big Nueng and she was alone, she was a rebel.
That's what I mean.
And boy, did she stay that way.
The rebellion was forming a relationship with Big Nueng in the first place when it was forbidden by her grandmother to have friends.
You are the best thing that's ever been mine.
Yes. Both of them.
Little Nueng will freely admit that. Big Nueng
took a radio show.
Yeah. It took
a radio show and Lesbian Ghosts.
15 episodes. But we got there.
We got there.
Still didn't tell that directly to Little Nueng, though. So flash forward, and we're taking on the world together. So this is, okay, not the beginning of season 2, but like once they finally get together in season 2, you and there's a drawer of my things at your place because Little Nueng finally got to move in a bit.
She got to move in. There's podcast equipment at your place.
Yeah,
she got her own room.
You learn my secrets, and you figure out why I'm guarded. You say we'll never make my parents' mistakes. So you learn my secrets, and you figure out why I'm guarded. Like, they told each other all of their secrets, and that's why Little Nueng is worried about leaving, because Big Nueng is guarded.
Keep going.
Okay. But we got bills to pay. We got nothing figured out. When it was hard to take, this is what I thought about. Okay, so they got expectations on them. And they don't have it figured out because you can't figure it out when people are expecting shit from you. Yeah, and it was hard to take.
This is reality. Big Nueng's like, hey, this is the reality.
Yeah. This is why I had to bring up both of these in this episode.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Also, I can't bring any of this up in the next episode that we cover because every single part's going to be long.
Yeah, true.
Okay, ready? And I remember that fight, 2:30 a.m., as everything was slipping right out of our hands. Ready? I ran out crying, and you followed me out into the street. Okay?
Got the phone.
So, yeah, like, Big Nueng is running after her. Little Nueng's lying in the street. Not totally. Anyway.
Well, Big Nueng followed her out into the street because she was on the phone call when she ran out. That tracks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Braced myself for the goodbye, because that's all I've ever known. And that's Big Nueng right now.
Oh, Big Nueng in the next episode. Big Nueng.
Yep, this is. Then you took me by surprise. You said, I'll never leave you alone. And I feel like that is the moment that Little Nueng calls the radio station.
Also, that's just Little Nueng in general. She's like, I will never leave you alone. No, but yeah, no,
that was from the very first episode.
Immediate. As of their first meeting.
Okay, so then the end of it is, do you believe it? We're gonna make it now, and I can see it. I can see it now. And I think that's just Little Nueng telling Big Nueng, I can see it. Just, and like repeatedly, like, I'm all in. I can see our future. Do you see it?
You see it now. After literally almost dying, do you now see it? Yeah.
We'll be fine. And then, yeah. So mine is a combination of this episode. I mean, the whole show, but this episode and the next episode.
Yeah, that's very true. Well done. Well done.
I'm apparently holding the lesbian ghost. I was
I don't know why you're so attached to the lesbian ghost right now.
They're really cute.
They are really cute.
I was trying to clean up my desk while talking, which is not a good idea.
No, not at all. Anyway, we should probably end this episode or we'll be here for 500 years. So let us know what you thought. Are you ready for the last episode? I can't believe we've actually got to the last episode. It has been a journey and an honor and a privilege to talk about this show as much as we have gotten to talk about it. Yes, Kaitlynn.
Secret word.
Secret word.
It's not secret of us.
No.
You get two options. I'm not even going to explain it at this point. You should know. Because if this is your first episode, I'm sorry. This is weird. All right. So either the hard to spell word onomatopoeia, or you can use montage of sadness.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
And put it in a comment or review, whatever you want. Leave it somewhere. And until next time, get ready for the finale by hydrating for lesbian Jesus and Phi and not
gay it
America.
up all over the place.
While we still can.
More specifically in Thailand. Let's all go to Thailand.
Yes, for Thailand.
I do want to plan a trip for Thailand that like people who like the podcast can like come with us as well. If anyone's interested in that. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon because my brain just likes ideas. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Any takers? Fun. Okay.
Anyway.
Oh, bye. Yeah. We already said it. Bye.
Bye. And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.